Paradise Wellness and Day Spa in Shelby is the premier location for providing exceptional cosmetical and medical aesthetics to their patients. Microneedling, facial treatments and add-ons, dermal fillers, PFP facials, and injection therapy are just a few of the services they provide. Hey guys, a gift certificate from Pink Paradise is a perfect gift for her this Valentine's Day. Go in today and register to win a $500 shopping spree. Pink Paradise is located at 927 South Lafayette Street in Shelby, or check out their website, pinkparadise.com, and like them on Facebook too. It's time to go picking at Gaston Pickers in Gastonia. They are now open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. till 6 p.m., Sunday afternoons from 1 to 5. Come check it all out. 28,000 square feet of vendors with antiques, collectibles, furniture, and more. And vendor space is available by calling 704-852-7055. Check out some of the booths at whatsupshopper.com and online at gastonpickers.net. Like them on Facebook too. Gaston Pickers, 503 Long Avenue in Gastonia, or exit 19 off I-85. Congratulations to Gaston Pickers, celebrating 10 years of business. At United Bank, banking means more than financial solutions. It means rallying around the causes that matter to their employees, customers, and neighbors. Over the years, United Bank has grown in size, but their community focus has not changed. By giving back to our local communities and funding business development, we help fuel economic growth. United Bank, member FDIC. If you're concerned about personal contact, you can always use the convenient drive-through window at Medical Center Pharmacy in Cherryville. They'll take care of your prescription while you wait in the comfort of your car. Or come on in, pick up your health products, and order breakfast or lunch from the grill with some of the best sandwiches in town. The grill is open from 8 a.m. until 2:30, Monday through Friday. Medical Center Pharmacy, 607 East Academy Street in Cherryville.
Only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And Oh, there we go. And good morning, and welcome to another Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Zach, Tom, and Shannon. It's gracing us with his presence this morning. Kevin is not here today, so we've got these three guys to help us with the show.
Thank you, JP. And I want to remind our listeners that Saturday Morning Sports Talk is brought to you by Shelby Heating and Air. Give them a call, 704-487-7877. Check them out online, shelbyheating.com. Going to be cold this weekend. Make sure your furnace is running. Call Shelby Heating and Air, 704-487-7877. Zach?
Well, what are you having for breakfast today, Tom?
I think some McDonald's is coming in here. It's brought to you by our local McDonald's here in Cherryville. I was waiting patiently, but JP is just now handing out probably my McGriddle that you and I enjoy every Saturday morning. And Shannon, you just get potluck because I forgot to take your breakfast order yesterday.
You get whatever Terry gives.
You get whatever's yesterday. What Terry ordered yesterday. Terry is in Pinehurst today. And he's getting, what's that? That's his? Take one down. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Take one down, pass it around. So we've all got our McDonald's breakfast. And once again, that's from McDonald's right here in Cherryville. So thank you for bringing us breakfast every morning. And Zach got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. You want to start off with some prep basketball?
Yeah, let's start off with some prep basketball. Well, how's the teams looking? I heard you was talking about Cherryville and Bessemer.
I looked it up, and Cherryville defeats Bessemer 83-78. So, I mean, that's a big win for Cherryville. I mean, 10-10, not awful, not great. They've been up and down. But Bessemer's had a pretty strong season this year. They came in at 13-5, And against the big boys, they've struggled a little bit. Bessemer has. Shelby, I think has beat them twice now. They clobbered Highland Tech, took care of Burns pretty handily. They beat Cherryville the first time. The first time they played Shelby, Bessemer won. Second time, Shelby won. So they've, lost to East Gaston as well. I mean, if you look at that conference, you've got East Gaston, Shelby, Bessemer City. They got Burns kind of in the middle. Bessemer, I expected him to get by Cherryville last night, but, Coach Harrell, been at this a long time. He knows how to get his guys up for a big game.
He does. Does that, if we look at standings and stuff like that, does that put them, they're in the 1A, 2A conference. Even in basketball, it's the same, correct?
Yeah, but there'll be like a 1A half and a 2A half to decide, which seed you're going to get. And right now, at the top of the conference is East Gaston. East Gaston 6-1 in the conference. Bessemer City 6-3. Burns right there at 5-3 in the conference. So if we look at Shelby, let me correct that. Shelby 8-1, East Gaston 6-1. That's the one I missed. Shelby's at top 8-1. Yeah. East Gaston 6-1. Bessemer 6-3. There's Burns in the middle 5-3. Cherryville 3-6. Highland Tech 1-7. Thomas Jefferson 0-8. But Thomas Jefferson, they've had a couple games because of injury and sickness and things. They've only had like 7 players, 8 players. It's just tough to compete against Shelby, who's throwing 3 or 4 fresh bodies at you every time. And the one I haven't seen, I haven't seen East Gaston, and I haven't seen Bessemer City.
Okay.
But the word on the street is East Gaston is big, they are physical, and they are fundamental. And that's a recipe for success in high school basketball. But, big game next week, we'll have it on WHS. I think it's Shelby and East Gaston next week because Burns is playing Bessemer City next week. So a couple of big games in that conference is going to decide, some of those playoff series.
Burns, Bessemer it's in Bessemer this time, correct? Because they played at Burns.
No, they played at Bessemer the first time. They'll be at Burns. And we had a hard time which one are we going to cover? East Gaston, Shelby, Burns, Bessemer City. But we're going to cover Shelby and East Gaston because that's for first place in the conference. So, big game coming up next Friday. If you can't get to the game, you can listen on WHS.
Do you know? Are we getting close to the end of the season?
Yeah, the season's going to end the 10th, and there will be a conference tournament. Same thing in the Big South. I was talking to Coach Brad Levine, and that's the game I was at last night. And Brad Levine, after winning 34 games in a row in the conference, lost 2 in a row. Lost to a good Hunter Huss team. There's a kid on Hunter Huss, his name escapes me right now. I have to look up. I can probably tell by the stats. Maybe Shannon knows because I know he keeps up with it. But to say he's just awesome. They've got like just a star player on that Hunter Huss team.
Guard, forward.
I want to say I think he's a forward, averaging 20-something points a game. Okay. They beat Crest, and then Crest lost to Ashbrook, who's been struggling. So it's 2 in a row. I talked to Coach
Justin Ross, is that who it is?
Yeah, I think that's who it is. Yeah. How many points is he averaging, Shannon?
17.
Yeah.
17.
So they say he's really the real deal. So you got to go out watching one of those kids. Like if you're a fan of high school basketball, go watch him play. But I had talked to Coach Levine. I said, Levine, you're going to right the ship tonight? And he seemed pretty confident. His guys got after it and put a lot of pressure on Stuart Kramer. Stuart Kramer had 22 turnovers in the game, but they were in it. Really, they were in it till about halfway through the third quarter because they made so many of the threes. I think it was 7-11 from three-pointer. It's like a lot of times they wouldn't get a shot off because they get the ball stolen, but when they did get a shot off, they made it. So it was a competitive game, high energy game. I got to tip my cap to Stuart Kramer, if I could say that, because they went out and they played hard. Joyner, I think the kid's last name was. I think he had 17 points. I think he had 4 or 5 3-pointers for Stuart Kramer, so he had a good game last night. What else hurt him is Rockmore, their quarterback, another one of their great players, got in foul trouble. I mean, they put that kid in, boom, foul. I take him out. He's a football player. As I was talking last night, it's like a lot of these guys that play football, they're aggressive. Sometimes that gets them in a little bit of foul trouble. But good job, Coach Levine. I think it's going to come down to Kings Mountain and Crest and Hunter Huss in that conference.
What do you think, Shannon?
Yeah, well, in that conference, Crest and Kings Mountain are both 8-2, and then Huss is behind them at 7-3. But Huss is one of the teams that did beat Crest. They gave them that one loss, or one of their 2 losses. So, yeah, I think it's still I haven't seen Kings Mountain play. I did see Crest play. Crest is fast. They're scrappy, and Coach Levine's just a good. I mean, he's going to get everything out of them that he can. But when you play a team like Huss that has a guy like Ross, I mean, he's a game changer, and if you can't stop him, you're going to have to keep up with him, and it's going to be. I think that conference tournament is going to be really exciting, especially in that conference as well as in the 1A 2A conference between Shelby, East Gaston, and as you mentioned, Bessemer. I think you can't count them out either. So and Burns, Burns has got some talent too.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun to watch, especially. I wish more people would get involved with basketball like they did football, because it is exciting, especially at this level, because it's just fun to watch. It's so fast paced.
Yeah.
I heard the phone ring.
Yeah, we had the phone ring. It sounds like Terry might be on the phone. So
we can't hear him.
Yep.
Let's see if we can patch Terry through.
Because we can.
Oh, might have lost him.
Yeah, we got Terry on the phone. We're going to see if we can get him through here in 1 second. I'm sure he can give us some insight, probably some insight on the girls.
Oh yeah, but
high school.
The two star players for Crest, though, you talk about Crest, Goodland and Adams really played well last night, and Briscoe gives them meaningful minutes too. He's playing well. When they get their press going, Shannon, when they can trap in the backcourt and it's effective, it just causes chaos.
It does.
I mean, his guys get after it, and sometimes, I mean, you really have a hard time getting the ball over the timeline. And what else happens when you watch Crest play? That teams will hang with him in the first half, but as he keeps throwing more guys at him, he keeps that press on the whole game. It just wears you out. Yeah, you could just tell second half of the third quarter, fourth quarter, Stuart Kramer was tired. And they're tired because every time you have the ball, somebody's in your face. Right. I mean, it just mentally and physically wears you out. And in that fourth quarter, it was, Crest pulled away. I think the third quarter was 23-11. Stuart Kramer had a 2-point lead at halftime, and then they ended up losing that third quarter pretty badly, and then that was kind of all she wrote. Right. So good job for Coach Levine to get back out in the win column. And going to be an interesting 2 weeks down the stretch to see who wins these basketball games.
All right, we got Terry on the phone, guys. What do you say, Terry?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good morning, Terry.
We're glad you laid out on us today, Terry. It's good for you to call in there, buddy.
Well, I mean, I like talking to y'all every now and then. Even when I'm on the road, I say, well, I better call them. That way they miss me. I know the whirlpool is.
I don't miss you, Terry, but I'm glad you called.
Tom missed you so much he's sitting in your seat, Terry.
I'm sitting in your seat. I'm sitting in the throne of the king, so I like it today. I
appreciate that.
Yeah. Did you watch some prep basketball last night?
No, I did not, Tom, and that's I didn't have a chance to do that. Had other obligations, but I'm on my way to the Dixie. Well, our little meeting that we have every year. You know how it is, Tom, when you got to have your umpires there to try to figure out what's going to happen in this new year.
Terry, my mask is in my car because I've got to go to my meeting after our show this morning, so I feel your pain. I don't have to drive all the way to Pinehurst, though.
Yeah. I was just calling in, guys. I was wanting to tell everybody in Cowboy Land, don't worry. Quinn is coming back to Dallas to rule our defense again for next year. He's already promised that. But we lost a lot of offensive line coaches. We lost a running back coach. We lost Leon Lett. We lost a lot of coaches that, Holgram's going to change. But hopefully that'll be a good thing for the Cowboy neighborhood. And next year, maybe this will be the time that we get to the Super Bowl.
Terry,
don't use that word.
Instead of getting rid of all those coaches, maybe you need to get rid of a quarterback who throws 2 interceptions in a big game on the road.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, and I've always liked Dak, but that kind of proved a lot to me against San Francisco because when I look back now, I'm looking at a guy who lost to a third-string quarterback for the Commanders, Sam Howell. Then he lost to the 288th pick in the NFL draft, a third-round pick for San Francisco, which the guy's pretty good. I'm not never going to take nothing from him because if you're drafted in the NFL, you are pretty good. But to lose to them and then throw picks, and he did take the blame, and I'm with that. But and I kind of sat back and I wonder, can we go get another quarterback? And I don't think you can because of what the picks are. I mean, we're stuck with Prescott until his contract's up, and then we'll decide what to do from there.
That's what happens when I'm afraid Cleveland's in the same boat. Once you invest a lot in a quarterback, man, it's hard to get out of it. I thought the first interception was really bad there, Terry. I thought the first one, you remember that one where he throws it into double coverage and it was a deflection and intercepted? I was like,
he said afterwards he should have threw that away.
Yeah, it's
hindsight's too late.
When you look at that one on the film, Terry, that was just, what is he thinking? You know what I mean? It's like there's no way that pass is going to be complete.
You can kind of chalk that up to the season. He's threw some bad interceptions. That's been the way he's done all season. He's threw bad interceptions at really bad times.
Well, the one that he tried to weed in there to Lamb, there was no way that ball was getting in there. And then he ended up getting picked, off of a misplay and popped up in the other guy's hand. But, I am glad that he took the blame. He should, because, and I'm like Curse. I mean, if you ever watched any of the talking to the guys after the game, Curse was the one that really got me. Because he's like, this is the NFL. This team will never be the same next year. Guys will leave. You'll have a lot of free agents. You'll have guys who retire. You're going to lose a lot of coaches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, you just hope. I'm just glad that Quinn finally come back and said, you know what, I've did my interviewing and I'm going to stay with Dallas. And that made me happy because we've got to have a defense. And as long as he's there, Dallas will be one of the top-notch defenses in the NFL.
I think Quinn stayed because he thinks somebody's getting fired next year and he's going to get that coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, that would not bother me. I even said it to start when the game was over, and I was mad at that time for how we played. But I was like, Hogan needs to go. I mean, go get Sean Payton, go do something. But, I mean, there was time management there that, we messed up on, and we've messed up on that all year long. So, I hate we lost because I'm like Calvin, me and him, we keep getting older, and you keep hoping somewhere along this line that, that you're able to put things together and at least maybe win one more Super Bowl title before, something comes up with us because, we're not young no more, and we keep getting older, and I'd like to at least see us win one or two more.
Well, I don't think you're going to see that, Terry, but maybe
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
Maybe your luck will change. Welcome to being a Cleveland fan, right?
Yeah.
There's actually Terry.
Well, the first thing that really got me, I told people after it was over, I said, it's amazing that when Dallas gets beat, the people who are calling me are Carolina Panther fans and Cleveland fans.
I didn't call you,
I'm
Terry.
like, how can that happen?
I didn't call you, Terry. If you notice, Terry, I left you alone. I left you alone because I was just enjoying what was happening to the Cowboys, and I didn't need to text you. I was just enjoying myself and enjoying, Schadenfreude, to use the German word. I was enjoying the dismay of the Cowboys nation. But it's the same thing. That's why I don't text people when their team gets beat in the playoffs. What can I say? I mean, my team's got to bail.
I understand every bit of that.
Yeah, they got to bail their quarterback out of jail. So, I really can't right now. I'm not in a position to send a lot of text messages, but I would be a liar if I said I didn't delight in the loss of the Cowboys. So I'm sorry to admit that to you, Terry, but sorry that happened to you, but I'm not going to lie to you.
Terry got to witness this on the biggest TV he's ever had.
Yeah, that's right. Terry went in and found a secondhand TV
for $50.
For $50 to watch his Cowboys embarrass themselves by Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. But let me tell you about.
Well, I want to tell you, there's plenty of times during that game I was like, "What are we doing?" And I wanted to throw stuff at my $50 television.
Yeah, that's right. You could have got another one pretty cheap from the same guy. Just make sure the cops weren't around. But anyway,
that's right.
But I'll tell you this.
Well, guys, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being there, and hopefully I'll be back next week. And, Tom, next week won't be long. We'll be talking about them Major League Baseball playoffs. But That'll be after North Carolina State wins the national championship.
Oh yeah. We're getting ready for that, Terry. It's just like your Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Yep, we know how that didn't age well either. Well, Terry, be safe. Be safe, and I want you to do one thing. I tried to give that Brock Purdy a little credit, okay? Give him a little credit.
Oh, I will. I'll always give him credit. I mean, he plays like a poised quarterback. And, guys, that's really strange. You think number 288? Think of that.
Yeah.
And then he's a starting quarterback and hadn't been beat yet. What more can you say?
I'll tell you, give that kid a little credit. But be careful out there, Terry. We'll see you next week.
All right, buddies. Take care of yourself. See ya.
All right. So the only reason why he called is he knows that if he didn't call, he'd get it worse next week. Yeah. He would get it even worse next week. But we had to talk. We're sorry we switched from basketball to the Dallas Cowboys, but we knew that's what Terry wanted to talk about. But to kind of finish up the basketball segment, next 2 weeks, then they'll have tournaments. Then they'll have playoffs. We'll have some of the coverage on WHS. Got to figure out who's playing who and where. And then we'll have some coverage for you in the playoffs. So stay tuned to KTC Broadcasting, WHS. Keep up with prep basketball.
Yeah, I was wanting to say, you guys were talking about the player for Huss, and that makes a big difference when you got somebody that can get you a lot of points when you go into the playoffs, be a difference maker. And if you got that, they go pretty far if he's playing well. It's hard to stop somebody like that. It's hard to stop somebody that's got a lot of height sometimes. It's hard to stop somebody who can shoot really good sometimes, and especially if they got a good 1-2 punch. It makes a big difference in playoffs, especially with some of these 1A, 2A schools where you're not really, really deep.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, and Shannon, you probably know because you've seen, you don't see as many big guys for the public schools anymore. Seems like if a guy's 6'8",
you don't. No.
If a guy's 6'8", he's at some prep schools, some private schools, some academy. Really, I mean, it's rare to see a guy maybe taller than 6'3", 6'4". I mean, 6'3", 6'4" is your big man in most high school games.
Or if you've got a guy that's taller than that, he's about 350 pounds, and he's a tackle, and he's not even playing basketball. But you saw the guy at Reedsville, the big tall, the kid they got. I'm surprised he's still, I'm surprised somebody in Winston hadn't scooped him up like a Winston-Salem.
Because of the football, because he wants to play football.
I think that's it.
But some of those schools, they don't have the numbers for football, but I remember Shelby I think they went up and played Lake Norman Charter. It's probably been about 4 or 5 years ago because Kevin and I went up and did the game. But it's like the 1A school, right? Their starting lineup, 6'5", 6'5", 6'6". Wow. It's like, okay. Shelby beat them. Yeah. Shelby was just out-athleted them. They just beat them up and down the floor. But a lot of those big guys, I mean, like 6'5", 6 guys that shoot threes, I was like, okay, you're a 1A school and you got 3 of those. And so it's a little skewed in basketball. And football, like you said, it's just, it's a numbers thing. A lot of those kids, and I would say the kid at Reedsville, if you want to keep playing football and the football program's so successful, those kids stay. Yeah. But it's getting to be a rare thing.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll have a quick break here, JP, and we'll be back, and we'll talk a little bit of college basketball.
They are there when you need them. We're talking about Shelby Heating and Air, where their customers come first. No matter the weather or the temperature, they'll be there to make sure you're comfortable. Ask about their safety furnace checkup for $99. Plus, ask about their up to $750 in rebates on select products. That's Shelby Heating and Air. Call 704-487-7877. Online at shelbyheating.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. They are there when you need them. What other pre-owned vehicle dealership can offer this? Pre-owned sales, a complete service department, and complete body shop. The only one I know is Oak Grove Auto Sales Service and Body Shop in Kings Mountain. They can do it all. Check with their automotive repair shop for all kinds of automotive repair. Plus, they sell tires too. And from a scratch to a big fender bender, they can help with that in their body shop. Oak Grove Auto Sales Service and Body Shop, 522 Oak Grove Road, Kings Mountain. Online at oakgroveauto.com.
Olmsted Plumbing is looking to hire entry-level and experienced plumbers who want to build a career. Olmsted Plumbing features competitive wages, benefit packages, and a great work environment. Just stop by the office located at 470 Washington Street in Forest City or give them a call at 828-245-7302. or visit the website at olmstedplumbing.com and fill out an application. That's Olmsted Plumbing in Forest City, handling all of your plumbing needs. Use your head. Call Olmsted.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
No matter how frightful the weather is, Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply in Lincoln is ready for it. They specialize in snow removal for your home or business. Also, see them for your ice melt, snow shovels, and 20 below windshield fluid too. Or do it the old-fashioned way with a new ice scraper. So let it snow. See Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply, 969 Reachville Road in Lincoln. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too.
Arthur Services is a proven competitor in the contingent staffing market. Their staffing solutions include temp to hire, direct hire, and payrolling. Arthur Services knows that a quality employee, properly trained and managed, is your most valuable asset. Specialties include clerical, light industrial, manufacturing, production, warehouse, logistics, administrative, and more. Call Arthur Services for your appointment today, 704-750-3304, or like them on Facebook too. And Arthur Services wishes you Happy Valentine's Day.
At Carolina Federal Credit Union, we know that we are not like the others. When you make a deposit, you're getting an excellent rate and helping a neighbor refinance for a reliable vehicle, buy a home, or start a family. It has been our community that has helped us thrive for over 50 years. The more that we grow, the better we can serve all of our neighbors. All that it takes to become a member is to be a part of the community. Carolina Federal Credit Union. We treat you like family because you are.
As our economy gradually reopens, remember to support local.
Know you're doing the right thing and stay proud.
Be a part of the greatest comeback of all time.
Shop local with whatsupshopper.com, Carolina Country, and the Boss.
And we're back on Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Zach, Tom, and Shannon.
And want to remind our listeners this is brought to you by Shelby Heating and Air. Give them a call, 704-487-7877. Check them out online, shelbyheating.com. Going to be cold this weekend. They were getting a little ahead of themselves and calling for snow, but the high temperature in the end of next week is going to be in the 40s, so I don't think it's going to snow this year. So you snowbirds, sorry. But cold and rainy. That's what January's been, cold and rainy. So when it's cold and rainy, make sure your heating system works. Once again, 704-487-7877, shelbyheating.com for all your heating and air needs.
I'm thankful it wasn't snowing. Was it Wednesday that we was having the monsoons? When I was out, it was awful. I was working. I was having to drive in the middle of the road in Kings Mountain. It was that bad. The drains couldn't hold the rain the other day.
Zach, don't try to act like you work.
I was
working. Walking uphill both ways.
But no, I'm hoping we don't get any snow myself. But it is very chilly this morning. So call those guys if you need anything with your heating and air. So let's get started with our NCAA. And some of the local teams that are, this is the big area for Terry. I hate to tell you, it's not a big area for NC State, but we got Carolina fans, we got Duke fans, and neither one of them are ranked this year. So a little bit different for the locals. And then we lost, two of our coaches. One I hate to see go with Roy, and the other one I was happy to see go with Coach K.
I think Hubert's doing a good job.
I do too.
I mean, he's had some struggles. He seems to get the most out of them when it counts. I think if he's just able to stay there, and he'll be fine. I don't know about Duke. We'll see. I don't have as much faith. Remind me that guy's name. Who's the new
Shire?
Yeah, I don't have as much faith in him at this point. But I guess because growing up, I just remember Hubert Davis a lot better. Him being a great player, and his daddy. Was a great player too, right? Walter, wasn't that his name?
Was that Hubert's dad? I didn't know that, so I learned something. I didn't know Walter Davis was Hubert's dad.
So he's legacy at Carolina. Back when I used to actually be a Carolina fan, before I actually met people who attended the university, and it changed me towards that. But I think he'll get right the ship. Baycott's been out here or there, but I tell you what, when Baycott's in there, they got a chance. I mean, he's just that dominant of a player when he's on. He's a
double machine.
Yeah, he's a double. He's I was just about to say he's 20 and 10. When he's hot. So I know Kevin likes to make fun of. They got some guys with leaky, like you can't win with guys named Leaky, and they got another guy with a name like that. But I think that all levity aside, if Baycott gets going and he can get hot, come tournament time, I think it might be like last year for Carolina. They might surprise some people.
Yeah, I don't think that's why I don't. When you were talking about who the standings a while ago and all that, but you can't count, especially after watching what Hubert Davis did last year with the team he had, and basically has them back again this year. You can't count them out because if they get, and it's not just Carolina. It could be a Duke. It could be an Ohio State. If that ever happens.
Yeah.
If they get hot at the right time, hey, all you have to win is just a set number of games in your national championship.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ohio State and Sensenball. When Sensenball is hot, they can be tough. But say Carolina and Baycott, it's not that they don't have any other good players, but you got that one really good dominant player.
He's going to show up.
Yeah,
if he's in the lineup, he's going to show up. And think about that. The biggest thing, and I've said it a couple weeks ago on the show, that I think Carolina's problem is we don't have Team Wolf, and that was Manick.
Yeah,
and that's somebody that can stay on that wing. Big guy, you got to account for him where they can throw that pass out when it goes into Baycott, slip it back out, and he's going to hit a three.
He can hit it. That's
right, and that hurts when you don't have that. And then unfortunately, I'm not the biggest Caleb Love fan. I think he's either going to be 30 points this game, and he might score 5 the next game. He's hot or cold, and he comes out sometimes thinking he's Jordan, and he's not. He if you remember in the tournament last year, he was just going completely ballistic, doing well, and I think that might have gotten in his head that he might be a little bit better shooter than he really is.
Yeah, I know you guys were talking earlier about Clemson. They are ranked 24th.
24th. They're 9-1 in ACC, and 17-4 overall. Is that right?
Yeah. They're checking out the standings. They're number 1 in the ACC, and you might say, well, why aren't they ranked higher? Why? They're not a blue blood.
They're not a blue blood. The schedule has hurt them. I don't know if you got their schedule pulled up. You look at that.
Yeah, they didn't play a very strong non-conference schedule.
They lost real early to a team that was definitely not a blue blood. I can't remember which team it was. It was about the 5th or 6th game they've lost.
But if you look at the top of the standings, Clemson not typically there. Virginia, who is,
I think they're ranked 7th.
They lost to Iowa. I don't know if that was what game you were talking about.
That was probably the ACC Big
Ten.
Yeah,
it was
Challenge.
Iowa. Yep.
And then Miami, Florida is 3rd, and there's UNC 4th, Pittsburgh 5th, NC State. So it just seems like NC State's having a better season than 6-4 in the ACC. They're 16-5 overall.
They had a good season. They got a good basketball team.
And Wake Forest has been competitive this year. They're 6-4 in the conference, 14-7 overall. Syracuse 6-4 in the conference. They're 13-8 overall. And down there's Duke, 5-4 in the conference.
I love
14-6 overall. I mean, it's like
you a Tar Heel fan?
No, I said NIT for Duke.
I
mean, we're typically used to seeing a Syracuse,
that would be great.
A Duke, maybe flopped with a Clemson and Miami, Florida at this point in the season. But sometimes it's good to change is good. I don't,
Well, the thing you were talking about Clemson, and just going through their schedule here. The one thing I noticed, they haven't blown teams out.
No, it's like 2-point wins.
Yeah,
I looked at it this morning.
That's and it's not against like the traditional Carolinas or the Dukes, the good team. I mean, you're talking USC Upstate, Towson. I mean, this is ridiculous. So that's why I don't think they're, they don't have maybe that nod in the top 10.
Style points.
Yeah,
style points. So I mean, if you look at Ohio State, though, every one of their games is 2 points, but they lose. I mean, so if you. You got to tip your cap to, even though, maybe they should be beating the competition by a little bit more in these close games when you're, coming out on the right end of these close games. You're doing something right. And I know that basketball is a funny game where anything can happen. You know what I mean? It's just, you're not going to see a Western Carolina go out and beat Alabama. But in basketball, it's a little more common where a school you never heard of knocks off, a pretty good team. So Clemson, a lot of momentum. I know they haven't been there before. Sometimes it's tough when people start talking about you too. You know what I mean? Now that you're expected to win. So they got a game against Florida State today. Florida State near like bottom 3rd.
Yeah.
About 500 in the conference. So interesting to see how Clemson does. I want to say that game, is that in Little John or not?
No, that's at Florida State.
So they got to go to Florida State. And like I said, Florida State 5-5, but Florida State's 7-14 overall, 5-5 in the conference. However, so let's see if Clemson can get it done on the road today. I didn't realize how bad Notre Dame was. 1-9 in the conference.
And Louisville.
Wow. Louisville 0-9.
2-18 overall. Who would have thought?
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. They're horrible. But you talk about it's coming quick. We only got 1 more month, and we'll be in March Madness. I'm sure we'll get. Trying to count them right now. How many I think we'll get in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say 6 if they continue on like they're doing now. 6 in the tournament. And I think Duke's on the outside looking in. I think it's funny if Shannon, if they go into NIT, the Duke fans.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Zach. No, I don't agree.
You don't think so?
If Duke has a winning record in the conference, they're gonna get them an NCAA bid. Now they might be a 12 seed.
10 seeds,
They're
something
still
like
gonna
that.
put Duke in. I don't care. They're gonna put Duke in because you know how it goes. The Blue Bloods always get kind of the benefit of the doubt, and some team that's been 20-6 will get left out. I guarantee you.
Now I know what they did do Carolina that when we lost Dean and I think we hit a NIT before we had Doherty, so it was pretty ugly. I would love to see Duke in the NIT this year.
Yeah, if you're talking about the 6, are you saying Clemson, Virginia, Miami, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and State? Is that right?
Yes, if it stayed pretty true right now.
If it stays right now, yeah. If that stays,
because if you look at Wake, they go off and they're already at 7 losses. That's kind of tough. They they might wind up with 12 losses. I don't know.
Well, if it comes down between Wake and Duke, both with 19 wins,
it's going to be Duke.
It'll be Duke.
It's kind of you kind of hate that. You're talking about the 2
or Syracuse,
the 2-point wins and stuff like that. I don't think the Clemsons, the Pittsburgh stuff like that gets modifiers to their rankings. Like you're this plus you get a modifier for being a blue blood. And I'm a Tar Heel fan. I know we get modifiers. If we'd been winning by 2 points and we're the record they got, I'm saying we're going to be 3 or 4 in the nation.
And this is what I like about college. I love high school sports. I love college sports because now, Tom, you were talking about the Duke teams during the break, and I'm that same age too. I remember, and probably you are too. I remember those in the 1990s. Your top teams in Carolina and Duke. Yep. When those 2 teams played, you stopped what you were doing and watched it. You watched those games because those were the 2, not just traditional powers, but they had the best players. Yeah. But now you look, come 2023, you got players all over the nation. These kids are going to other places, which I think is wonderful. Yeah. I'm glad that like I mentioned a while ago, like a Towson State. I mean, I'm glad they're getting some players. And everybody up north, Indiana's just not going to, they're spreading those out. They're not just going to Ohio State. They're in the Big 10 or Big 12, whatever it's called. Or not whatever it's called, but whichever conference it is. They're going to these mid-major schools because these kids want to play.
Yeah.
And it's making those. And when we get in the tournament, like the team, what was the one team from Chicago that had the
Loyola Mountain?
Yeah, or they had the Nun. That was
Loyola of Chicago?
Yeah, Loyola of Chicago.
Yeah, I said Marymount. I was wrong.
That's out in California.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's the. But you got teams like that. You watch these kids play, and you're like, okay, this is an impressive team, And then even, I mean, just locally, I know it's Gardner Webb, but their girls team, Gardner Webb's girls team's done. They're phenomenal, and they'll probably win the conference, get in the tournament. Now, can they beat anybody else? I don't know, but I mean, just seeing talent. That's it's just not at these big Power 5. You want to call those schools like a Duke, Carolina, Syracuse. You're seeing a lot of these mid majors get some of these players, and these kids can play. These and it's I think it's wonderful. And what you're doing too with just broadcasting high school games, you're going to like these 1A schools, like something charter Catholic, whatever school, and you've got everybody in the lineup 6'5", and that right there, it's like you're getting to see these kids play, and and you're watching them, and then you see them go off to college wherever they go. But you're like, I remember that kid.
Yeah,
I remember that kid in high school. It's just, I just like it. I think it's wonderful.
And you know what else though? There's just not. It just seemed like when you talk about the Carolinas and Dukes they were dominant teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at like Purdue, who's number 1 in the nation, they beat unranked Michigan by 1 point about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. They blew out Minnesota, but then they beat an unranked Maryland team by 3 points at home. And then they beat an unranked Michigan team by 5 points. You see what I mean?
And that tells you that they're going to be susceptible when they get a tournament.
There's a lot of parity that anybody can beat anybody. And that's why, like, when a Carolina, who like last year you'd say didn't have the best season, but they made the Final Four. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that getting in the tournament, just get in. And a lot of people, I think even as not so great seeds, 8, 9, 10, they might still have a chance to make some noise and make a run.
And you think about that. So using Carolina as an example, we know they're a stacked team. Something just ain't gelled this year. Do they not have the drive to do the regular season? When they get in a tournament, they're going to take it up a notch, and like they did last year, and just blow through everybody. It is definitely possible they could do that. Another thing I want to bring up too is you look through these standings and stuff like that, and bring up the Big East. When we were younger, the Big East was the Big East.
But
you know what I'm saying?
They only had like 8 teams, but it was fun,
right?
Yeah.
And then they've lost some of their teams to the ACC, and but one team it come on TV the other day, and they were talking about Patrick Ewing, and he, he's the coach for Georgetown. You would think that he could garner and pull some players in there, and he's not done well at all at Georgetown. Georgetown's 1-9 in the conference, 6-15 overall.
They used to be good every.
Yeah, you could count on that with John Thompson and stuff. You think you could get somebody with a name recognition, somebody from the school, and an old school that's recognized. You think you could?
But do these kids
recruit?
Do these kids know?
Right.
Patrick Ewing.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going with it. You're right. You sit there and you think these kids that are playing now, they were probably just born when LeBron came into the league. So you kind of have to sit back and say, "Oh man, we're that far out from some of the glory days of these big schools." So they're not going there. They're not remembering Allen Iverson. They're not remembering these players that go there. They probably see them when they actually get there on the some of their statues or whatever else they got, but it's tough for them. So they're in the doldrums, and some of these teams, Marquette, it has got a good season this year. I also want to look at a couple of the other. Tom was wanting to mention Ohio State,
struggling. Can't win close games. You can't win close games. You're gonna have a hard time in the tournament because those games are super competitive. Seems like they lose every game between like 1 and 6, 7 points. They're just having a hard time.
Then you got SEC. SEC's got some pretty good basketball teams in it. Got Alabama at number 2 in the nation. Alabama's kind of in basketball has kind of started to get a little bit of traction over the past couple of years. Then you got Tennessee at number 4, getting name recognition back in basketball, and we know they've got some name recognition back in their football season this past year. So SEC. A little bit better in basketball. Some of the teams that generally play well for
Kentucky.
Yeah, you got Kentucky and Florida. They're down in the middle of the pack. Kentucky's 5-3, 14-6 overall.
Kentucky's been playing better though. As of late, they've been playing better. So with in the one and done era, I mean, you could be a totally different team at the end of the year than the beginning, right?
Right.
A lot of the guys are new and hadn't played and don't know the system and. They want to play Instagram ball, like Kevin says. let me be the highlight reel on it. I just think it's hard to get kids into a system and playing with together and get the chemistry and the flow. But I was see that more at the end of the season, right? So I mean, I think a team like Kentucky, who always recruits well, if you look at them towards the end of the season, they're likely to be a different team than they were at the beginning. Yeah,
the kids get gelled a little bit. They get a little bit of experience in the college level because most of them are, like you said, one and dones. And it can change up. They can have a little bit of traction when they get in the tournament. Another interesting team we have is from the West Coast Conference, which we know that there's usually only 2 good teams in that conference. Gonzaga.
Yeah.
That's right. They're 14th in the nation, 6-1, 17-4 overall. They should probably get in the tournament very easily, but they were supposed to come out and have a top 5 season. They not played well. This year,
as well as expectations.
Yeah.
17-4 still pretty good.
Yeah, I said well, but they haven't played as well.
Not play as well
as they
would
thought
expect them to probably only have 1 loss or maybe undefeated because their league is not the SEC.
And then we got another conference in the Pac-12, and we don't get to see that as much around here, because they play the later games. They've got some good basketball teams in that. UCLA at number 8 in the nation. We know they don't be as good as they had in the past consistently. So they're 8-2, 17-4 overall. Very similar record to Gonzaga. And then you got Arizona. Could be good one year and bad the next. They're 7-3, 18-3 overall. Shannon, you got any news and notes?
I was just looking at the top 25. You got, if you're talking about the records, you got at 18, you got Charleston.
College Charleston.
21-1, and then you got Florida Atlantic at 20-1. They're at 21st in the nation, and then you got St. Mary's. St. Mary's at 18-4. They're 22nd. So, are those teams better than the ACC teams?
We'll find out tournament time.
That's what I'm saying. That
you'll find out tournament time.
You're talking about Clemson being the only ranked team in the ACC. Well, then you got teams like a College of Charleston. Can they go into? I mean, I know they went to Virginia Tech and beat Virginia Tech, but it's still, can they go into a Cameron or can they go into the Dean Dome and can they win those big games like that? And that's what I love about it. That's what I think is wonderful. When like a Charleston go to Virginia or Blacksburg and beat Virginia Tech at Blacksburg, and it's like they beat them by 2, but they beat them.
Yeah,
I think that gives them recognition. But I can't wait till the tournament. It's a free for all. It's
you think about the tournament. March Madness. We've been doing it since we were kids almost, but with the 64, it wasn't 64 then, but their system I think is the best system for the playoffs that you can have. It gives everybody, the small teams, even got a chance to get in with those 64. So you got a puncher's chance. You got your conference champions in. I think they give it the fairest playing field out there.
Yeah, I don't think they'd change that either, although some of the 15 and 16 seeds, I mean, in recent years, you see one pull off an upset every now and then, not too often. I think it would be just as fun with 32, but maybe I'm just, one of these elitists, whatever. I think I think it'd be just as good as 32, but then, some of these little sweetheart schools that, gosh, what was the team in Jersey? What was the team in Jersey that, the Catholic school in Jersey a couple of years ago. Gosh, I can't remember. The name escapes me. I can't remember.
Well, Baltimore, Maryland. They beat. They were the 16th seed and beat Virginia.
Yeah, but it was a team it was a little Catholic school in New Jersey that made a run. What did he say? St. Joe's. Yeah, St. Joe's. Yeah, when they make their run, So under my system, they would not be there.
And then, you mentioned Florida Atlantic a minute ago. Was that not the same team 3 or 4 years ago that went to the Elite Eight Final Four? Was it Florida Atlantic team? It was a team out of Florida. Had a really good basketball team. So it's nice to see some of those smaller schools get some.
But what I remember about March Madness is Jeff Jones. Okay, I had him for a history class at Shelby. I remember when that first weekend came, that Friday in class. That's what we did because I had him in the afternoon. We watched the first round of the not only the ACC tournament, but then it was the first round of March Madness, both Fridays. And it was wonderful because I'm like, actually Thursday and Friday, because he loved basketball. And that was just fun to watch, and it was exciting.
We can't do that anymore.
I was going to ask.
Why not?
The DPI would come and take you to work.
What is that?
The Department of Public Instruction. I mean, there's so much.
The greatest thing, when we were in school with kids, you guys got the same thing. They rolled that big
roll that
TV down. You get in the class, especially like your history teacher, or, your math teacher, and they're gonna have
in middle school. When I was in middle school, that was when there was only 8 teams, and I just guess because I grew up with it. I think the ACC was best the way it used to be. Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, Wake Forest, Clemson. The teams that are supposed to be in the ACC are in the ACC. And I know money's taken over. Ohio State has set records for their revenue. I saw how much money came into that football and basketball. I mean, it's just ungodly. And I know money talks and BS walks. So we're not going back to the 8-team ACC. But everybody had their team, right? Duke, Carolina, State. Everybody had their team. Everybody wore their shirts. They roll that TV into the gym. And just let everybody come in the gym and watch the ACC tournament. I mean, it was fun. I mean, those days are done because of these stupid things, And you don't have it's not like it used to be, but it was an event. I mean, the ACC tournament, when the ACC tournament was on, you're right. My dad used to hate it because he'd have half the people that he worked for him call in sick, not come to work because the tournament's on. But it's just not like that anymore.
No.
It's not like that anymore, and I hate to see it gone. And I think another thing is, it's like when you're kids. All right, and Jeff Lebo played for Carolina, and and J.R. Reed played for Carolina, and, you know, Pete Chilcutt and all those guys from way back. You got to watch them 4 years, or at least 3 with J.R. Reed, right?
Yeah.
You know, you got to watch them 3 or 4 years. They might leave a year early, but you got into the players. Now it's like
you watch their development too.
Right.
You know how good they
now you're like, who's this guy? Oh, okay. He's the number 2 recruit. He was McDonald's All-American.
Right. Yeah.
He's gonna play 8 games, get hurt, and not play again, and get drafted. Kyrie Irving.
And he's going to be saying the earth is flat, and
So-
he's going to be playing in the NBA.
Right, and it's one of those things where you just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Correct. You know, that's a good Duke education there. The world's flat. Yeah, the world's flat, and vaccines have government trackers in them. But anyway, it just seemed like it was just better back then. People got into it back then. They got into the players. They got the coaches. Remember when old Gary Williams was up at Maryland?
Oh my goodness!
And
good coach.
Even
Good
Lefty
coach.
Driesell before
Lefty was up there at Maryland.
Bobby
I mean, it's
Clemens
just,
down at Georgia Tech.
it's just it was fun. I mean, like you knew the coaches, you knew the players.
I hated to go for us to have to go to Maryland. It was tough to win up there sometimes.
Oh yeah. And now it's like most people, if they're ACC fans, they couldn't name all the teams in the ACC. There's just too many.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's too big. It's just kind of. I miss the old days, but with the revenue, these networks, ACC network, Big Ten network, all that, it's done.
Well,
And
you know, they're
just
not
to
going
mention
back
that
to
too is they tried, and they might have been successful. I'd have to look it up, but they want to move the ACC tournament from Greensboro all the way up into Syracuse, up there in New York. So
let's go to upstate New York in winter for the tournament. No, they need to keep it in Charlotte.
Yeah,
or I would say, and maybe in another place you could do it is Washington D.C.
Yeah,
because you got teams way up north. You got Boston College and all that, and then you got Clemson. I mean, all over the
got
East.
Miami, too.
Miami, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got all over the East Coast. So I'd say like a centralized location. In North Carolina, I think works better than Syracuse. I know Syracuse. Having the tournament?
They was up in New York where they were talking about having it. Yeah. And I don't think it's a good. I think it's a horrible idea. This is ACC country area. I think it needs to stay.
Well, even what Tom, going on what you said, you're right about the way you. And I know things used to be different, but the ACC, you had your set teams, and then we mentioned the Big East a while ago. The Big East was dominant back then, and it was that core group of teams.
Syracuse,
and even if they weren't, I remember I wasn't a Big East fan, but I remember like a Derek Coleman at Syracuse and a Patrick Ewing at Georgia Tech. The white kid from St. John's, what's his name? Chris Mullins.
Yeah.
And then PJ Carlesimo, their coach. And it's things like that. You can get to know these guys. I mean, you don't know them. But
the Big East was fun.
The
Big East was
awesome.
fun.
They had Seton Hall sometimes playing really well, if you remember the old Seton Hall.
Don't forget about Providence.
Yeah.
Providence had some good teams too. They're ranked this year, but you had Providence, you had St. John's, you had Connecticut, Georgetown. And they were always good. And they played Mondays because remember ESPN used to have Big Monday because you had a Big East game, a Big Ten game. It was fun. And now,
and even Rolly Rasmussen, he won a national championship. Where was he?
Villanova. Yeah, Villanova. That's mean, back in those days, it was. It just seemed like you knew it better. And the funny thing is, you knew it better, but there wasn't nearly as much coverage. I mean, because you had to sit down in front of the TV and you couldn't take the TV everywhere you went.
But the players played. They stayed for 3 to 4 years. You got to know them. Then when they got onto the pro NBA, you're like, yeah, okay, he was a good player at Seton Hall. He was a good player at Carolina. He was a good player at Georgia Tech. I mean, you knew the players. Like you said, now today it's like,
where'd he go to college?
Where'd he go?
Did he go to college?
Did
he go to college? Where did he play college ball?
You talk about you was talking about when we were playing with J.R. Reed. He went out as a junior. It was kind of unheard of.
Oh yeah. Oh, J.R. Reed's leaving. Not going to play his senior season. This is big news. Now these guys.
And then from he came out in '89. So by the time Tim Duncan comes out in '96, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It was unheard of for somebody. He was going to stay 4 years. If you remember that, there's like, I can't believe Tim's staying 4 years. Tim don't need to be here 4 years. So he was one of the the holdovers of the elite players that stayed. I know Hansborough did stay his 4 years, but Tim Duncan would be the last guy that I can remember that actually would stay a good 4 years.
Did Carter not stay 4 years at Carolina, or did he leave?
I can't
He might have stayed. I'd have to look up. Him and Jameson come out the same year, so they both went to the NBA at the same time. I don't think they both stayed 4 years. I think they stayed three, both of them.
Yeah, most of them would stay at least 3. I can't remember any 2-year guys back then. I'm sure it happened. It's been a long time, but the point is, it's just we just don't know the teams as well as we do. We still like to fill out our brackets. It's fun and follow all that stuff and get in the pool at work, which never has any money in it, by the way. But it's one of those.
Be
things.
Careful, Bernie.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But the tournament is still fun. It's just never, it's never going to be the way it was. I guess people think it's better now. It makes more money now, but
you hit the nail on the head. Money does the talking.
It's money. I mean, when I looked at Ohio State, my brother sent me the amount of money that Ohio State athletics make.
How much do they?
I mean, just like hundreds of millions of dollars for the football program. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but they broke revenue records. Like, I have to look at what it is. It's an industry. You know what I mean? It's an industry, and it's just it's never going to go back to the glory days.
It's not.
But it just is what it is.
All right, guys, let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit of NBA. JP, let's take a break.
They are there when you need them. We're talking about Shelby Heating and Air, where their customers come first. No matter the weather or the temperature, they'll be there to make sure you're comfortable. Ask about their safety furnace checkup for $99. Plus, ask about their up to $750 in rebates on select products. That's Shelby Heating and Air. Call 704-487-7877. Online at shelbyheating.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. They are there when you need them. Check out the great buys this month at Kurt's Premium Outlet in Eastridge Mall in Gastonia. Like George Blue men's flip-flops for 49 cents. Time and True women's black or brown peep-toe shoes are 49 cents. All adult and kids athletic socks are $1.99 a pack. Men's, women, and children clothing, $2 each. Kurt's has Celebrate Glow Stick sets for 50 cents. And see the Martha Stewart 15-inch tiered stands with planter pots for just $8. At Kurt's Premium Outlet, Eastridge Mall on Highway 321 North in Gastonia. Like them on Facebook, too.
Stephanie at Jumpin' Jed's in Fallston has just arrived back from market, and Jumpin' Jed's is running over with new decor. Items for Valentine's Day, spring, Easter, or just everyday spring items, and of course, ice cream. Also, beautiful florals, and check out the new layout in the store. Jumpin' Jed's is now open Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. till 6 p.m., and Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Located in historic downtown Fallston, across from the Steamy Event Center. Like them on Facebook, too.
There's nothing like cash in your pocket, especially if you can turn your scrap into cash with the help of Gaston Used Auto Parts and Recycling in Gastonia. For over 25 years, this locally family-owned and operated business has been giving some of the best prices for scrap. They take tungsten scrap carbide, as well as stainless steel, aluminum, copper, and brass. Need help? Gaston Used Auto Parts and Recycling will supply you with a roll-off container to help make your recycling easy. Turn your scrap into cash with the help of Gaston Used Auto Parts and Recycling. 305 Dogwood Street in Gastonia. Call 704-827-9468. Online at GastonUsedAutoPartsAndRecycling.com.
Golden Solutions Insurance in Shelby asks, have you had a major life event recently? Did you get married? Has your family had a baby? Has there been a death in your family? Did you move, or has there been a change in your income? Golden Solutions Insurance can help if you answered yes to any of these questions. Call us today to look at your options. For your health insurance, we represent major companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, and Better, and in Rutherford County, we represent United Healthcare. Call Claudia Vaughn today at Golden Solutions Insurance, 704-477-1426. That's 704-477-1426.
Olmsted Plumbing is looking to hire entry-level and experienced plumbers who want to build a career. Olmsted Plumbing features competitive wages, benefit packages, and a great work environment. Just stop by the office located at 470 Washington Street in Forest City, or give them a call at 828-245-7302, or visit the website at olmstedplumbing.com and fill out an application. That's Olmsted Plumbing in Forest City, handling all of your plumbing needs. Use your head. Call Olmsted.
And we're back on Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Zach and his crew.
Oh, I didn't know I was part of his crew.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I'd say Kevin and the gang, but unfortunately Kevin isn't here, so I'd say Zach
All
and
right,
his crew.
Zach
No.
and his crew. So remember that if your heating and air goes out, call this crew at Shelby Heating and Air, 704-487-7877. Check them out online, shelbyheating.com, for all your heating and air needs. Once again, that's Shelby Heating and Air.
I guess you could call us the Fantastic Four, more or less. There's four of us here.
Or
so.
the not so fantastic four,
Yeah,
however you want to put it.
We could probably be the Three Stooges, and we could just slip Shemp. It was Shemp and
Larry
Emperor.
Curly, and don't forget about Shemp.
Right, we could just switch in,
They're
interchange
weird
one for
Stooges
the other.
everybody forgets about. Yeah, but we were talking a little bit about basketball, and Terry's not here today. His Celtics, who we still can't name the coach, but they are 35 and 15 overall, 7-3 in their last 10, and they sit atop the Eastern Conference. I don't know, Zach. You would have to figure they would be the favorites in the East right now.
They would. In looking at the looking at the standings, you got Philadelphia at 2. They're always seem to be there. Milwaukee at 3, and Brooklyn still hanging around there at the 4 with Durant and Kyrie Irving. But Boston, a good basketball team. They lost the game the other night. If Terry was here, he could probably give us the details a little bit better than I could. Boston got beat. I can't remember who they was playing, but I think it was Jaylen Brown had a chance to hit 2 free throws at the end of the game. Missed both free throws. He was pretty down on himself, and they lose that game. I believe that was one of the games that Tatum had around 50.
Well, I think it was last night. The Nets get beat by the Pistons, one of the worst teams in the league. No Durant. I mean, they've been without Durant, and Milwaukee's been without Giannis, for some of the season. So, I mean, you don't have all your stars. It's funny, it's funny how quickly you can go the other way.
So, you're talking about you're not having your stars. They put so much money into garnering, your 2 players that you don't have any role players anymore.
Right.
And sometimes their bench is just god awful.
Yeah.
You look at a team like the Nets when they don't have Durant or Irvin in there, they're going to struggle and struggle bad. You look at the standings here with our Charlotte team here. They're not dead last in the NBA, but they're
right. We're not dead last.
We're about 4th. From dead last. I would, if you're gonna have a bad record, I'd rather have the worst record, so you'd have a better chance of getting.
Even though we wouldn't get the number 1 pick, there's no way because it's illegal.
I thought it was a conspiracy when we didn't back in the day when they wouldn't give the expansion teams the number 1 pick anyway. So we never had the number 1 pick. We've had the 2 before. A couple times we'd never had that top pick, and we always miss out on the. We get a superstar a lot of times. We always missed out on the superstar like the team changing guys. So we're kind of hanging out down at the bottom. You look over here at your Western Conference. It's interesting. You guys remember maybe about a month ago, New Orleans was at the top of the NBA. They've got a really, really good basketball team. I think they'll be really dangerous come playoff time. They got about a 4-headed monster sitting down in New Orleans.
Now, I wouldn't forget about Philadelphia either. Wednesday they had a victory over the Nets. Embiid has 26, Harden had 23, and Maxey had 27. And Maxey's really come on in recent years. So you can't sleep on them. I think they've got a good chance.
Cleveland
is just every time they give me hope, something stupid happens.
They got that puncher's chance though. When you put Mitchell in when he's not laying there and his mama's feeding him Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
I know.
They got a chance to win the basketball game anytime because he'll drop 50.
Lost to the Thunder last night. I mean, they blew out the Rockets. They lost to the Knicks. They beat them. They're win 1, lose 1 right now. They lose to the Warriors.
What's their last 10? You're right, 4 and 6. So you're pretty much dead on the money with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where if you looking at them, they win 1, they lose 1, and. They've had some injury issues. I know that Mitchell's been in and out of the lineup, and I think Mitchell really gives them that scoring. I mean, but he's not the only one that can score. Jared Allen can have some big nights. And looking at some of Kevin Love's recent numbers, he hasn't been scoring as much off the bench as he had been. First he was giving them a big lift off the bench. And if I look here last night, didn't play last night. So, I mean, people, in and out of the lineup, injuries, things like that. Hard to gauge. I think maybe these guys really think maybe we'll play come playoff time.
The interesting part of this is, Shannon, I want to get your take on this NBA thing here in a minute too. Is if we just use Cleveland and we just go back to 1 year ago and we're sitting right here at this time, Cleveland still was at the 5 this time last year at about so they went out and they got a stud, and their record is pretty much the same, and they're in the same spot in the Eastern Conference. What do you think?
I didn't see Rubio in the lineup last night. I didn't see
Ricky Rubio.
Sometimes hard to keep up with what I've been doing. This week was all prep basketball. I had Burns, had conference games had 2 games. Highland Tech Tuesday, East Rutherford Wednesday, and then I saw Crest last night. So sometimes when I get into the prep basketball, I kind of lose what's going on in pro basketball. But I don't know if Cleveland, you look at it, Cleveland, and I know what anybody's going to say. They're just not consistent enough. Yeah. One day they look like, hey, they could challenge. Maybe they could challenge the Bucks or the Sixers or the Nets or the Celtics. And then the next week, like, no, man, they can't. They can't beat the Thunder. They can't beat the Pistons. So I think, they got to get it together. They got to find some consistency, because win one, lose one, that's not going to get it done. Especially once you start playing the cream of the crop, it's just not going to get it done.
Well, the thing that I like about, or that I don't like, is you don't have the consistency. You don't have the player, and I'm big on development. You don't have that anymore. Cleveland, like you said, they got Mitchell, and that's really, you got to have support. You got to have a bench. You got to have that 6th, 7th man coming off to be able to sustain a lead while you get your star player rest or while he's foul trouble, whatever. But I think it's still, you want to go back in a little bit, like 3-4 years ago. I remember the West used to be dominant.
Yeah, I was looking at that just now.
That was just like incredible how. Your top teams like the Rockets are dead last and won 10, 11 games. Gold State. So, back then I know they had different players on their teams, but I remember the champion was going to come out of the West. Regardless of who was in the East, it didn't matter. Your champion was going to win. But now it seems like it's shifted to the East. And things like that, I guess that's with the time of whatever you want to call it, just I don't want to say free agency, but it's still – you don't have, it's all about money now. It's not about, you don't have that Bulls team in 96 that every one of them stayed for 10 years and you knew who they were. You knew the players. You knew you were going to get this amount of money this amount of points from this person. You knew you had the one guard, I can't remember his name, the Bulls had. He was the 6th man of the year. No, he was the 6th man, Ron Harper.
Oh,
You had a Ron Harper coming off
defensive
the bench.
stopper.
Yeah. You had him coming off the bench as the 6th man, and he was a great player, and I think he was either a Cleveland guy or a Detroit guy before the Bulls got
Clippers.
him.
Yeah, he played for Cleveland.
Was it Clippers? He put up 20 a night when he played for those teams.
So it's still one of those things that's, you don't have that anymore, and I think it's all now. If you are a superstar coming out of in the NBA, I think like a Giannis or a Luka, or even if you want to say LeBron, Steph, or any of them, there's so much pressure on them now. I've got to get 50. Mitchell, I've got to get 50 points. We're not going to win, And you think if you get 30, heck, I'd love to score 30 points a game, but it doesn't seem like that's enough anymore.
Well, it's just like Kyrie Irving had 40 against the Pistons and they lost.
Yeah.
When you're overly dependent on that one person, it just puts you at a disadvantage. When I watched East Rutherford, they had a kid, I can't remember his last name, called him Pop. 40 points. Well, the team had 57. Yeah. They got beat by 30.
Yeah.
So when you get overly dependent, hey, you need to go out there and score 50 or 60 points. I just think it just puts you at a disadvantage. Just I know going back to prep sports a little bit, but the first thing Coach Levine said, well, I had 4 in double figures. I always love to see that. Yeah. Because now you've got a balanced attack. You're wearing people out. If you're dependent on that one guy to score 50 points, how good is he in the fourth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's putting a lot of pressure on him. So, I think it'd be better, if you've got 2 or 3, just like I saw Philadelphia, they got 3 over 20 points. That's
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's that's definitely, I think, a formula for success, and will explain why they're so high in the conference.
Yeah, and even with the Celtics, I agree with you. I think Celtics and Philly, I think those are the two best teams in the NBA right now. I think those are your two best teams, but it's still,
Terry, don't get your head too big off that comment.
Well, I mean, he
doesn't even know who the coach is.
But they're going to have to beat each other.
Brad Stevens.
To get to the championship, they're going to have to beat each other.
It is not Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens, Terry.
Yeah, Terry probably still thinks Larry Bird's the coach of the Celtics. But I don't know
Doesn't
if he's
Red
still
Auerbach, doesn't he own them? Is that right?
I would say he's listening, but he probably doesn't know how to pull up an app on his phone. So just say, it's just kind of funny.
Terry, don't pull up an app while you're driving.
Yeah, don't do it while you're driving, Terry. But it's going to be fun. If you guys talk about Boston and Philly, don't forget about Milwaukee though. I mean,
Giannis comes back.
Yeah, Giannis,
you can't. He's pretty much
been hurt.
unstoppable.
Middleton's been hurt. So
if Giannis comes back, does Milwaukee get better or do they get worse?
No,
because
you don't get worse if Giannis comes back.
Right,
but they're going to feed him.
You fire the coach.
But they're going to feed him the ball more so than those guys that have been sustaining while he's been out. And that's why I'm asking: will they win more? Will they? They probably will. But it's
Shannon, the answer is your team better or worse with Giannis? The answer is
they're better. A lot better.
If they're not better, they can always send him to Charlotte. We'll take him down here.
Hey, we'll take him in Cleveland today. Okay, but I see what you're saying. Like, is that going to change your strategy and how does that affect you? But you got Giannis. He's. I would say he's an asset.
One of the rumors that's swirling around the NBA is Trae Young's not happy in Atlanta. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Trae Young's
they've kind of fallen off the map a little bit. They're not getting talked about too much.
They're 25-24 right now, 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. Don't think it would happen, but the rumor is swirling around that the Lakers are trying to give up whatever they can give to get Trae Young on their roster.
I just want LeBron to just give it up. Because it's like he won it in 2020. Okay,
that's not a real season.
Right. Okay, that's probably your last one, man. It's just
that's like
I'm just tired of it.
That's like was it the Spurs that won the shortened season? You got an asterisk beside that.
Yeah, I'm just at this point. It's just look. I mean, I'm not a LeBron hater. It's just okay. You've had a great career. You've done things that probably your longevity stats. I don't know if anybody will touch some of those, but
it's not gonna happen.
It's time. It's time. He's out there in California. Go get on TV. Go be in movies. Go do something else. Quit trying to okay, well, this doesn't work. Give me this new guys. Well, this doesn't work. Give me new guys. I mean, it's just not a formula for success. I mean, you always hear these trade rumors. Who's going to go next to play with LeBron? And I'm not convinced that there's a lot of people that want to play with him.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a drug too. It's like a drug when these players get so successful, and you guys know it. It's going to be hard to give it up. It's going to be hard to say, okay, I'm done, and because they want to win they want to win one more.
And he's still chasing the. He's still chasing
Tom
the goat.
Was say something. I saw him grinning. But I was like, okay.
No, I just don't think. I just do not think the Lakers are going to win another one. No. Period. No, I think
no, it's not.
I don't think LeBron is either. I mean, there was even rumors like you hear all this crazy stuff. LeBron going to go back to Cleveland. I'm like, no, he's not. No, it's like he's not going. No, the funny thing is, if you went back to Cleveland, you guys got you got Garland, you got Jared Allen, you got some young talent around him. I mean, that would probably work now, but
it would be a better situation.
He'd be a lot better situation. Yeah. They would bump up in the standings, I think, very quickly with having him there. He's still playing at a high level. He's.
I'm not saying he's not playing at a high level. I don't even think it's that. It's just the fact that, I mean, I'm not so sure that guys like being around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, like Michael Jordan could probably chew you out, and you'd be like, okay, well, I just got chewed out by Michael Jordan. I better do something.
Right.
I don't think today's guys respond to that as much as they used to, or the disappointment of your star player, like you don't want to let him down.
Yeah.
So I just don't think a lot of guys want to go out there and play with him anymore. I just don't think they do. So
he's chasing the big mountain. He's chasing the Kareem untouchable stat. But we all know that's a longevity stat.
How far is he?
200 points.
Oh, he'll get it. Yeah.
200 points away. It's going to happen before the end. It definitely happened before the end of the season.
Before the end of the season. So once he has that, Is it time?
It's going to put another check on his list to try to give his GOAT status. I don't think he attains it. His NBA Finals is going to always haunt him. 3-6, 4-6.
I think the Instagram generation will always say that LeBron is the best player ever. And the people who watch Michael Jordan play, our guys our age, we're going to say Michael Jordan was the best player ever. I mean, in ours. I mean, if you go a little further back, you might get arguments for other folks.
Yeah.
I think that that's the generational gap there. That our generation, Michael Jordan, their generation, LeBron James. But championships. I think championships define you. And did Michael Jordan ever lose a championship series?
6-0.
No.
He never went to a game 7.
He did it with one team. He didn't bounce around to 3.
He didn't say. No, I mean, they went out and got Rodman. Okay, so it's not like they didn't try to go in, but it's not like this every year.
It wasn't like
let's change out. Let's get 3 new guys in.
It wasn't like you had Bird, Magic, and him on the same team.
Right.
They wanted to beat each other. They wanted to destroy each other.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, Terry. They wanted to destroy each other.
They did.
But interesting in that whole deal was Kareem is not happy right now. I don't know if you guys heard this or not. Kareem is not happy LeBron is going to pass him.
Why?
Does not like him at all. Considers himself, and he's got an argument to be the best player of all time.
Yeah.
And it's they're trying to get Magic. Magic was actually on a talk show the other day and trying to get those guys together to have some kind of a meeting to make amends. He said, because we're both, you call them Lakers. I don't consider LeBron really a Laker, but you got the Lakers trying to have a little bit of, because when he passes him is what they're talking about. When he passes him, you would want to have Kareem there. You'd want to have all this stuff there, and I don't think Kareem's gonna show up.
Well, he ought to.
I agree.
He ought to.
He got passed. I mean, you can't take the stats away from LeBron. He actually passed Kareem, but it's not looking really good to have him there at the.
So who do you think's better, Kareem or in his prime or LeBron?
Oh, Kareem.
Yeah, Kareem was dominant.
Yeah,
Kareem was dominant.
But it goes back to none of these kids. I only saw Kareem in his later years, and he was nasty then. Yeah. I mean, he's 7'3" going through the middle doing the sky hook, and he's heads over. I mean, he's so much taller, nobody can even touch him.
Yeah. Like I say, I can remember like mid-'80s when I was a kid, I can remember Bird being dominant. And then I can remember like when I was in high school, and you could just tell the back just wouldn't let him do it anymore. So sometimes if you're the most familiar you are with a guy is when his later years, when the injuries and everything else is taking its toll. And, in all fairness, the exercise science and the diets and all this stuff is so much better than it was 30, 40 years ago. I mean, these guys can keep on playing longer. They don't, it used to be like, like Bird and his back, that's done.
Yeah, you get 32, 33 years old.
Yeah, I don't know if they could fix it today. I would imagine they could. Imagine they just know more and they can do more for these guys. And who knows, if Bird played today, maybe he would have played another 5 years.
So, watched a documentary the other day. I mentioned it. I know I mentioned it to Terry Shannon. I don't know if he was here, but it was some players talking about how good Bird was. Could he play in the NBA today? And they laughed. They were like, have you seen Luka? They said Bird was 3 times faster than Luka.
Yeah, Bird was good.
Luka, and they're talking about Luka's good. They said Bird was like, it ain't even in a comparison.
Yeah.
He said he would destroy today's NBA as fast as he was, as smart as he was. He said it would be ridiculous. They was talking about when they had the dream team, and this was Jamal Mashburn talking about it. Jamal Mashburn said they tell us to come out here. We're going to play this game. We're going to play this game against the dream team, and we're walking down the hallway, and we see this big white guy coming. He's telling us, there's a big white guy coming. He says, man, that's got to be Bird. He said, he is bigger than you ever think that he is. He said he is humongous.
Yeah.
I think 6'10", 6'9", something like that, 6'10". And he comes up, and he's like, he said something smart. I can't remember exactly what he said to him now. It's like, you guys must be the scrubs or something like that. And he's like, oh, man. At first, he said, hey, Mr. Bird. And he said, that's what he talks to us. He said, y'all better get ready for this, And Rodney Rogers, remember Rodney Rogers from Wake Forest? He said something smart to him. He says, you ain't hit a jumper since 1984. And Magic heard this, and they bring him in. They play the game, and they said Magic fed him, and he's calling shots right in front. I'm gonna hit it from here. I'm gonna hit it from here. I'm gonna hit it from here. He said he gets done. He even broke a sweat. He goes and lays down because his back was bothering him. He's laying down. He looks up at him. He's playing the game. He says, "Looks like 1984, don't it, Rook?"
Well, he He was pretty well known for his trash talking. Like that story that Terry told. Like in a game, somebody's guarding him. Get somebody else. He can't guard me.
Yeah, like
he can't.
It was when it was the end of the game. It was Isaiah.
Yeah.
It was playing the. I think it was playing Pistons. Something. He comes up and says, "You really gonna?" It was Paul Westphal.
Yeah.
He used to play with. He said, "Paul, you gonna put this guy on me for the end of the game?" He's like, "What are you doing?" Because he hits the shot to win the game. He's like, "I told you
not to put that guy on me." But it was fun back in those days. It's the NBA was just more fun. That's the theme of the day. Everything was more fun.
It is.
Then.
I mean, you think about you was talking about layers. A minute ago with talking about layers with the teams that they have today, and not having the depth. I mean, when the Pistons came to town that they're going to have, they're going to have their scorers, they're going to have their the rebounders, and they're going to have the people come in they're hockey players.
Yeah, they're bruisers. Yeah,
yeah, right. And they're going to come in, and you're going to have to deal with Sally. You're going to have to deal with Rodman. You're going to have to deal with Lambier. And it's going to be an ugly, rough day. That's where they got the Jordan rules from. Was from the Pistons.
Yeah,
keep him out of the air. Goes in the air, destroy him.
Destroy.
So
destroy.
Well, that's about all we got for the NBA. I know the Western Conference. We didn't look at them. Let's look at them for just a second before we go to a break. We got Denver leading the Western Conference at 34-15. They've got a pretty deep team though. That Denver team does. Memphis seems to be their last couple years, 31-18. Sacramento 27-20. The New Orleans that I brought up is 26-23. I think they're a very dangerous team. I think they got a pretty good, at least three-headed monster with McCollum, with Zion, and with Brandon Ingram. I think they can make some noise in the playoffs. Clippers always can be there. They've got help me think, the Claw. What's his name?
Claw.
Yeah, he's got the big hands. That's his emblem.
Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard. Thank you.
Okay.
I could see his face. Couldn't think of his name.
Paul George.
Got Paul George. They're always just kind of mediocre down there. Dallas, my favorite player in the NBA with Luka. Definitely can make some noise. And then it gets interesting down. You was talking about a minute ago, Shannon, with Golden State. And Phoenix used to be at the top, and now they're down in almost in the playoff playing games.
Yeah, we don't see those teams as much, so we don't talk about them as much. And what I'm seeing is the Jazz down to number 10. They were playing pretty well earlier in the year. Despite Gobert's not there anymore, Mitchell's not there anymore, but they've slid down a little bit. The Suns are the team that really surprised me all the way down the list like that.
Yeah, with Booker, they still got Booker. Paul's not what he used to be.
Yeah.
So maybe make the playoffs, maybe not. Have to do the play-in game, see what happens with them. Golden State, I think, could be very dangerous if they can get healthy. We know their best player, Draymond Green.
Yeah,
for Terry.
By far and away.
By far and away, the triple single.
Yeah.
He's going to carry them into the playoffs.
Even Golden State, Phoenix, and Utah, last 10 games, both are all three are 5-5. There's a problem. That's
it's mediocre.
Yeah.
And Mavericks 3-7.
That's what I was going to say. Tom, you got Mavericks sitting there at 3-7. That's very surprising. If Luka could get a Robin,
yeah, I know.
If he could ever get a Robin, they'd be dangerous. He's never had that.
Sometimes you wonder, I think some guys don't want to play with other guys.
I agree.
There might be reasons why they don't want to play with him, but the only thing that gets on my nerves about Luka. Well, one thing is I went to a Dallas game against Charlotte, and of course he was resting that night, not playing, so I was disappointed because I wanted to see him play. But sometimes they figure, this guy's attitude, like when I watch him on the court, the constant whining.
He's also on the refs all the time.
And I wonder if he does the same thing to his teammates. You know what I mean? Like his guy's always whining and griping about everything. And that's just not the best environment to be around. I mean, that's the thing gets on my nerves. Like after about a quarter of watching him, he's an outstanding player, man. Just shut up. Just play, man. Yep. You're not going to get every call. Yeah.
That's right.
And that's what I hate is the kids who play basketball watch that and then they emulate that behavior, and it's really, really annoying. Like I referee soccer, and the flopping and the arm and all this stuff that they watch. It's like, I know that. Remember Charles Barkley? I'm not paid to be a role model. They all have that attitude now. I'm not paid to be a role model.
Well, we know Charles wasn't because he bonked the basketball off Shaq's head.
Yeah, I know.
And then it was Charles that they had to wear the windshield wiper glasses for out in Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm just
spit to the crowd.
I'm not paid to be a role model. I know, but you are. So please act accordingly.
All right, well, we'll finish up this one, JP. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll talk very quickly about the NASCAR, and then we'll go to our NFL.
They are there when you need them. We're talking about Shelby Heating and Air, where their customers come first. No matter the weather or the temperature, they'll be there to make sure you're comfortable. Ask about their safety furnace checkup for $99. Plus, ask about their up to $750 in rebates on select products. That's Shelby Heating and Air. Call 704-487-7877. Online at shelbyheating.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. They are there when you need them.
Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center in Shelby announces a huge inventory reduction blowout sale. Save hundreds of dollars on scratch and dented appliances, washers, dryers, refrigerators, freezers, and more. Now in stock, GE and Whirlpool appliances. It's the biggest selection in the area. Plus, buy now and get next day delivery. Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center, 1241 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. On the right going down, on the left coming up. Like them on Facebook too.
Check out the new arrivals this week at Cars, Trucks, and Credit in Lincoln. Just arrived a 2003 Infiniti G35 at $14.99 down. Also a 2006 Chevy Trailblazer at $12.99 down. Or how about a 2008 Chevrolet Colorado, $12.99 down. And a 2007 Acura MDX at $19.99 down. Check them out at Cars, Trucks, and Credit, 604 Clark Drive in Lincoln. Online at ctcautosports.com and see their page at whatsupshopper.com.
It's time to come out and play at the newly renovated Lincoln Country Club. Since 1946, the Lincoln Country Club has been challenging golfers. Ask about special membership opportunities, enjoy the new swimming pool, and the restaurant just can't be beat. Practice your drive and know the driving range too. For your tee time, call 704-735-1382 for the Lincoln Country Club. 2052 Country Club Road in Lincoln and online at lincolncountryclub.net.
It's time to head to Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply in Lincoln for a full line of Milwaukee tools. Come see the selection. All kinds of Milwaukee power tools, batteries, chargers, lights, blade bits, and even Milwaukee apparel. Plus, they can help with Milwaukee specialized orders. Plus, new Valentine, Easter, and spring pattern decorative flags are in stock. Silt fences and wattle irrigation control rolls. Plus, tilt trailers and skid steer attachments at the new Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply, 969 Reedsville Road in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook too.
Bring the family to Fats Cafe in Shelby for a holiday treat. Ask about their sweet tea glazed ham feast. They will serve 10 to 12 people with sweet tea glazed ham, macaroni and cheese, green beans, sweet potato casserole, and poppy seed rolls. Or the roasted turkey feast that will feed 10 to 12. It comes with a roasted turkey breast, gravy and redskin mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, cornbread dressing, green beans, and poppy seed rolls. That's Fats Cafe, 1235 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. They are there when you need them. We're talking about Shelby Heating and Air, where their customers come first. No matter the weather or the temperature, they'll be there to make sure you're comfortable. Ask about their safety furnace checkup for $99. Plus, ask about their up to $750 in rebates on select products. That's Shelby Heating and Air. Call 704-487-7877. Online at shelbyheating.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. They are there when you need them. For over 60 years, Boyd Tire and Appliance has been serving the Clover and surrounding area with the finest quality of home appliances, televisions, lawn equipment and parts, tires, and more. They feature in-house financing with 90 days same as cash, and they service what they sell. Drop by their showroom at 110 North Main Street in Clover, open 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday. Call 803-222-3231 for Boyd Tire and Appliance and Boyd Lawn and Garden. Online at BoydTireandAppliance.com. It's tax time. Time to see Gaston Tax Service in Mount Holly and Gastonia. For years, people in this area have trusted Gaston Tax Service in Mount Holly. They provide tax preparation for individuals and businesses and are open year-round if you have any tax issues. Just give them a call at 704-824-0729 and like them on Facebook too. Again, that's Gaston Tax Service, 606 South Main Street in Mount Holly and 631 East Garrison Boulevard in Gastonia. See David or Casey today. There's nothing like Southern-style cooking, especially when it's done right, like at the new Union Diner in Gastonia. Union Diner is now open at 1101 Union Road in Gastonia from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. Monday through Saturday, serving the finest in Southern-style food. And each day there are daily specials for lunch or dinner. And mention this radio ad and take 15% off your bill. You heard right. Mention this radio ad and take 15% off your bill. And don't forget about their big party room at the new Union Diner, 1101 Union Road in Gastonia. Call 704-215-6276. Again, open 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Listen up. Do you need to clear some land for construction? HSI Land Clearing is the #1 company in the area for grading, land clearing, hydro seeding, demolition, finish grading, footings, and heavy hauling. Ask around and you'll find they come highly recommended. You can't go wrong when you call HIS Land Clearing. Call today at 704-466-6008. That's 704-466-6008. And like them on Facebook too. For the finest in family Mexican cuisine, head to El Pancho Villa in Lowell, located at 720 McAdenville Road in the former Hillbillies location. You'll find all your favorite Mexican dishes, and Tuesday special is Taco Tuesday. Tacos are half price, and margaritas are half price each and every Tuesday. And they have a big party room too. Plus, they cater for big and small orders. Just call 704-879-9079. Open 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. 7 days a week. And visit their website at elpanchovillabarandgrill.com. And like them on Facebook, too.
Tune in for Down Home with Milton Baker, Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.9 FM, 1590 AM, and online at kdcbroadcasting.com.
And we're back with Zach and the crew. Talk a little bit more sports.
All right. And remember, Saturday Morning Sports Talk brought to you by Shelby Heating and Air. Give them a call, 704-487-7877. Check them out online, shelbyheating.com, for all your heating and air needs.
All right, guys, Tom's going to lead us off here with a little bit of our NASCAR. We got a big race. Some people think a real big race out in California. So what we got going on, Tom?
Our two NASCAR people are not here.
Right.
One's in Pinehurst, playing golf, and Kevin's off this week. So they're not here to tell you about this, but it's the Clash. It says Clash at Daytona, but it's not
Clash
in Daytona.
Really?
It says here, when you look it up, it says Clash at Daytona, which is not at Daytona. It's actually in Los Angeles. And it will be next Sunday, February 5th. And I think it says 8 p.m. But I think Calvin said they're going to start coverage early on WCSL. I'll double check. I think it's at 4:30 we start coverage. I guess it's because it's the kickoff, and they'll have plenty of interviews and crew chiefs and drivers and, all that stuff. So looking forward to kicking off NASCAR coverage on WCSL. And, we were talking about it, why would they do that? Why would they go out to the Coliseum? What is it, quarter mile? Something like that?
It's
3/10?
It is.
It's not a long track.
It's half of Bristol, I think.
Yeah, it's not a long track. But, they had all the L.A. personalities out there last year. Wasn't Snoop Dogg or somebody out there last year? All the L.A. guys are out there. And you're trying to tap into a market that is not a traditional, NASCAR market. So, in a way, I don't blame them. But in a way, again, we've been living in the 80s and 90s today. Wasn't NASCAR better when it was at North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, Martinsville, Daytona,
Darlington.
Mm-hmm. When it was what it is, what it really is. Richmond, Bristol, Tennessee. Dover, Delaware. Yeah. Delaware's the confused state. We don't know whether we're north or south, right?
Or Bristol.
Yeah,
Bristol.
Yeah. When it was a southern thing like it's supposed to be. And then you had the Watkins Glen, right? You had that weird race up at Watkins Glen, New York. But for the most part, it was a southern thing. And I know that it's just like college football or all this other stuff. You can make more money. You can make more money with the super conference. You can make more money if, you got to race in Chicago, right? You got to race in LA. You You got races in Texas. You're trying to expand your market, which I understand. But this thing, I don't know. I don't know how much people around here watch it. I know it seemed like they liked it out there, and I mean they're doing it again. It must have, they're not changing their plans. So I think it's going to be there. I don't know if they have their contract or anything, but I think for the foreseeable future, you got a metropolitan. If I could speak today, of about 7-8 million people or whatever they got out there. I mean, I don't blame them.
I'm tell you why you can't speak today, Tom.
Why's that?
Go sit in a Terry seat.
I know that's what
and you're coming up with words that don't even exist.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Actually, I'm on some new medication too. That's my excuse today. My doctor prescribed me some heart attack pills, so I'm just going to chalk it up to that. It says causes dizziness, so that's what it is. So trying to get through my last couple of years of teaching without falling out. Zach.
Right,
so
right.
I'm blaming it on the prescription. Blame it on my doctor.
I did notice there's a lot of tickets still available for this race.
I told you guys there's a lot they can watch out there.
It was popular last year. And it's not like y'all, see, but I think y'all are wrong. Y'all are acting like, well, you can go see a Lakers game or you've got the Rams. Nobody watches the Rams. I mean, seriously. I mean, when you compare it to like an old blue collar Buffalo town or something like that, I mean, in Buffalo, New York, what do you have?
Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. Yeah. In California, what do you have?
Everything.
You got the beach, you got beautiful weather, you got palm trees, you got Hollywood. It's just more other stuff for it to compete with. I mean, it wasn't too long ago, Los Angeles had no professional football teams.
Unbelievable.
And there's a reason for that. It's not because, there's no money out there. I mean, that's stupid for anybody
They
who
don't
says
fill the
that.
stadium up.
Yeah, I mean, SoFi, beautiful stadium, but I just don't towns like that are a little bit different. Like in a Cleveland or a Kansas City, your team is the town. It's just not like it out there. And in the South, your driver is your driver, man. Right. You got behind your driver and you watched him every week. Those people in California don't have a driver, So I mean, it's just a little different. But I don't blame them. You know what I mean? I don't. There's an old phrase, you're not growing, you're dying, right? So you try to grow the sport. I mean, I understand completely. I just don't know is it a gimmick? Like Terry was here, he'd say it's a gimmick. It's like the dirt track racing. He'd say it's a gimmick, but he's a traditionalist.
I had to give Terry some heart attack pills from
I tell you what, man, you turn 50 years old, they start giving you heart attack pills. That's what it is. So you're a teacher, take these pills. No.
I mean, it's like the NFL's expanded out into Europe and stuff like that, and I don't think that's been a success. So I think the same thing will probably happen with.
I disagree with you, Zach.
You think it's been a success to expand out there, or are you talking about the?
You know what's embarrassing? They have the game in Munich. Did you watch the game in Munich when Tom Brady played? Can't remember. And they're serenading him like they're singing a song. I think it was Country Road. They're singing in perfect English. And it just goes to show you kind of like how dumb we are as Americans. You go to a foreign country and they're singing a language in English and they speak better English than the people who actually live here.
Well,
but I think it's expanding. I think people are interested in
you're a soccer guy. If you go watch a soccer match or a soccer game here in Charlotte at the FC play or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you watch that game, and then you fly to Munich or fly to London, and you watch a European soccer game. The crowd is so much different because the crowd gets into it.
The whole game,
chant,
the whole
sing,
and I think they know the game a little better.
They do, and it's like that. Will the NFL survive in Europe? I don't know because I think they're just going because they've probably heard of a Tom Brady. They probably heard of, if NBA went there, like a LeBron, just go, well, it's different because they have basketball, but it's still.
And it's a few a year. Yeah. So it's probably a novelty to them. Yeah. Like if you had an NFL team in London, I don't know if that would work, but you talk about soccer. I can't remember what day it was. I was just watching TV and it was, I think it was Manchester United played Arsenal in a big Premier League game. Arsenal's like leading the league and United's maybe 3 or 4 back. The whole game, chanting. I mean, I watched it for a little while, went away, came back to it, just, into it, the whole game. That's their game. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't think it's a complete flop. The NFL keeps going over there, and they're trying to build their brand. Games in Mexico. I mean, you watch ESPN Deportes. I mean, they commentate the games in Spanish. You're always trying to grow your brand. But I guess at heart, I'm still a traditionalist. You don't And going back to NASCAR, you don't race in California.
Right.
You know, they race in Sonoma too, though, right?
They do.
Yeah, they race in Sonoma too. But you race in South Carolina. You race in Georgia. You race in Tennessee. You race in Virginia. But, you know, it's all about that money. Got to make that money.
We'll get that next week. See who wins the race, and we'll get us our last break here, JP, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about our NFL. Got some of our picks.
Before you go to break, just remember next week WCSL covering the race. Calvin said coverage starts at 4:30. The race is at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so that's on WCSL next week. Thanks.
All right.
They are there when you need them. We're talking about Shelby Heating and Air, where their customers come first. No matter the weather or the temperature, they'll be there to make sure you're comfortable. Ask about their safety furnace checkup for $99. Plus, ask about their up to $750 in rebates on select products. That's Shelby Heating and Air. Call 704-487-7877. Online at shelbyheating.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. They are there when you need them.
There's no use to be cold this coming winter. Head on into Today's Pro in Shelby for warmth and comfort. From gas logs to fireplaces to inserts and more. With name brands like Empire, Monestin, and Buck Stove. Be ready for old man winter today with a stop at Today's Pro in Shelby. And they also do service calls. And don't forget they fill those propane cylinders. Just call 704-600-8393. 704-600-8393. Today's Pro, 1325 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at thetodayspro.com. Grizzly's trying to tell you about the new inventory at Blessed Buildings and Tiny Homes in Cherryville. And buy now before the spring rush and save money. Plus, right now, you can get quick delivery. And with tax time here, there's no better time to buy. From all sizes of buildings to gazebos, play sets, tiny homes with up to 1,100 square feet. You'll find it all at Blessed Buildings and Tiny Homes. 2268 Lincoln and Highway 150 East in Cherryville, right across from Ace Hardware. Online at blessedbuildings-tinyhomes.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. There's a lot to do around the yard during the wintertime. How about leaves or getting those gutters cleaned out? Get it done with just one call to Bean Brothers Landscaping for residential or commercial. Just call 704-718-4988. From building retaining walls to patios, from aeration to seating to water retention, they can take care of your apartment, duplex, or your business plan. Ask about their commercial and residential programs. Bean Brothers Landscaping. Again, call 704-718-4988 and like them on Facebook too. Since 1995, Carolina Furniture Mart on North Aspen Street in Lincoln has been serving this area with the finest in home furnishings for every room of your house. With over 80,000 square feet of shopping, we're sure you'll find something you'll love for your home. Bedrooms, living rooms, dens, dining, plus a huge mattress and recliner gallery. Shop local, shop hometown, shop Carolina Furniture Mart. 644 North Aspen Street in Lincoln, and online at carolinafurnituremart.com. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too. Hillbilly's Barbecue and Steaks in Law is in search of barbecue eaters. That's right, barbecue eaters. If you love barbecue, you'll love Hillbilly's Barbecue and Steaks in Law. Plus, they have chicken, steaks, ribs, all kinds of sides and salads too. Ask about their office party packs. And they have employment opportunities, including management positions. That's Hillbilly's Barbecue and Steaks, 305 South Main Street in Law, where it's easy in and easy out.
And we're back on Saturday More Sports Talk with Kevin. With Zach and the crew. Sorry, I had to sneeze there for a minute.
If you're okay back there, want to
I'm good.
Remind our listeners, he's good. He's good. Don't worry, just give him some air. Shelby Heating and Air, bringing you Saturday Morning Sports Talk, 704-487-7877. Check them out online, shelbyheating.com, for all your heating and air needs.
JP, if you've got a cold because your house is not air conditioner heater is not working right, you can always call Shelby Heating and Air.
I had some hot salsa on my burrito. So
they can do an air quality check in your home as well, JP, which you might want to do that. But anyway, we've got NFL. One person has been perfect in all his playoff picks. I'm not going to say any names, but his name's Tom. So he is successfully predicted all of the playoff games. That's because I know this game, whereas
Terry
doesn't, because he picks from his heart, not his brain.
Let's see.
So,
Why every time I look at this thing, every year Terry's got Dallas in the Super Bowl.
Every year.
It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter.
And he's got them circled to be the champions.
Yeah, I know.
He's got them circled. Let me get this back on our thing here. He's circled to be the champion. I'm holding this up here, guys. So Terry, you've been eliminated because you got Dallas and Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
Eliminated because your team got destroyed.
Shannon wasn't with us to make these picks, so he didn't have any input on the playoff picks. But we'll get his input today. Tom has successfully picked all the right games. We got Philadelphia, San Francisco in the NFC this week. We've got Kansas City and Cincinnati, a rematch in the AFC this week. I had all my conference champions picks or conference picks. I got Philadelphia and San Francisco, Kansas City, Cincinnati. Terry had in this round Philadelphia and Dallas, and Kansas City and Buffalo. So he was 50% getting there. Kevin had Philadelphia, San Francisco, Kansas City, and Buffalo. So he was at 75% of his teams getting there. Mine and Tom's are sitting at 100% on this round, and then we'll see who goes on. It's going to be interesting. Tom has got Philadelphia and Kansas City in the championship, Super Bowl, excuse me, and I've got San Francisco and Cincinnati, so exact opposite. So it should be interesting when we get to that.
Well, I would probably like to amend my pick because I don't know if one-legged Mahomes can get it done.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him. One-legged, he's got a high ankle sprain, if I'm right about that, Shannon.
Yes.
He's got a high ankle sprain. And the second thing is, I don't know if they can beat Cincinnati with a healthy Mahomes. He's beat them 3 times in a row.
They have disrespected Cincinnati repeatedly.
Yeah.
They have disrespected. How was Chase not an All-Pro?
Yeah.
How was Burrow was like 13 All-Pro?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? But Joe doesn't get mad. Joe
he is super cool.
Joe makes funny comments, because when he was being interviewed, everybody knows because there's a T-shirt with it. He goes, I know some people bought some tickets down in Atlanta because they thought it was going to be Buffalo in Atlanta. When Buffalo gets it, he said, better send those refunds. I mean, he just like his little jabs.
Awesome.
You have to listen to him, though, because he doesn't like, let me tell you something right now. All you people that bought, he's not like that. He's just like, yeah, we won. Better send those refunds down there.
You know what they're calling Arrowhead this week, right? Burrowhead. Calling it Burrowhead. That might not bode too well for them when they go up there. But
why would people say, can Joe Burrow beat one-legged Mahomes when he's already beaten two-legged Mahomes 3 times?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just like, do you guys watch the NFL? I mean, it's like, the guy's 3-0. So instead of saying it might be hard to remain perfect against the Chiefs, they just say, can he beat the Chiefs? What do you?
Yeah, shouldn't it be, can Mahomes beat Burrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's already been, can a one-legged Mahomes beat Burrow?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you asked me to change my pick, I probably would. I would probably pick Cincinnati. If Mahomes was healthy, I would say, okay, well, they're at home. I would say that I think they have the advantage. But I think that Cincinnati, because they've been so disrespected, and their defense playing well too, and their front four is pretty good.
What happened last year? The defense started playing well in the playoffs.
Yeah, defense started playing well.
Burrow is a gamer. He came out last week, and he was on the money. I mean, it's a snow game. He's throwing passes like.
Yeah, last week I thought Buffalo would win that game. I thought it would be Buffalo and Kansas City this week. But what Burrow did, or just not just him, the whole team. I think Cincinnati is now. You talk about those elite teams in the league. I know everybody talked about Buffalo all year long and Kansas City all year long, and Cincinnati was like, this was a Super Bowl team last year. Disrespected them. I think now, in my opinion, they're one of the elite teams in the league now, and because of Joe Burrow, because of that front four in the defense, because of Chase. I think that's why they are. I think they'll go into Kansas City this week, and I think they're just going to punch the clock and get it done. I think they'll win. I don't care if Mahomes is healthy or not. I think that's how good. Like I said, Burrow's just on a different level. He's on a different level mentally. He doesn't take – I mean, I'm not saying he's not serious with the game because I think he is. I think the reason he can say jabs like that, Tom, is because he is so confident in who he is. He's been that way since LSU. We saw in the championship game down there. He is so confident in who he is. He knows what he can do. He has good players around him that he can feed the ball to, run the ball, throw the ball. I think that is what's going to set Cincinnati apart and let them win this game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's got the right attitude. I would say a healthy Mahomes is on his level. You know, I mean, you guys say, I mean, a healthy Mahomes and Josh Allen's on his level. So I guess I would disagree with you slightly there. But I think that mentally he's just solid. You know what I mean? He's
That's
just
what I take from him.
He's so mentally solid. Not to say those other guys aren't, but I think
he's got it.
Yeah.
I think he's got the it gene. You don't come out when I'm coming on the field like,
he's got it. Yeah.
I'm beating you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated. I think when the game's on the line, it's him.
And after I beat you, I'm going to smoke a cigar. You know what I mean?
And he's going to come out and look like he's on the
right.
What was the Grease? You remember the Grease movie? They were the when they wore the leather jackets and stuff. He's going to come out and look like super
T-Bird,
cool.
T-Bird,
He's a T-Bird, man. He's coming. He looks like a T-Bird.
He is.
Well, I didn't mean to say they weren't on his level. I don't think people realized he was on their level.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. That maybe because he plays in Cincinnati.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play in Dallas. Because could you imagine
Oh,
if Joe
man.
Burrow played in Dallas? Oh my God.
I mean, they talk about Dak like he's, everything, and then Dallas. Can you imagine if Joe Burrow was down there?
Calvin did say that Burrow was 0-1 against Dak Prescott. So thank you, Calvin Hastings, for the stat of the day. But against, when it matters, against your rival in your conference and you're 3-0.
Yeah.
I would say, Mahomes is solid. Mahomes is a great player. Mahomes is a Hall of Fame talent. But you don't know if Burrow might have that psychological edge over him right now. And, Patrick Mahomes would never admit that. But
he's human.
And when Burrow steps on that field, he absolutely 100% believes he's going to win that game, and that means a lot.
If they get the ball first and they go down like they did against Buffalo, and he is 10 for 10 before you know it, and he's got a touchdown pass, he's going to put people on notice.
Buffalo defense was so bad. They were horrible. I mean, did you guys watch the game?
Yes.
I mean, they were people wide open. I mean, it's just like, what are they doing? In the run game, they could not stop the run game.
No. Cincinnati hit the line, and they were – it was just like they had momentum on their – from the run game. It was pushing that defensive line back.
They had some backups in there on the offensive line. So, I mean, I was just really impressed the way, they're too banged up offensively. Oh, they can't win in Buffalo. Oh, and I tell you what, they manhandled the Buffalo Bills.
They did.
Up front.
At home in the snow.
Up front. They whipped them. And I guess Tony Romo's best point, and I don't know why some people don't like him. I think he does a great job.
I think he's one of the best commentators in the NFL.
I think Tony does a great job. But he said they whipped them in the first half. And a lot of times when you get whipped in the first half, it ain't going to change in the second half. It's going to get worse. And that's right. Yeah. I mean, if you're just getting your butts beat up front, that usually halftime speech don't usually change that, does it?
What did it wind up being? Was it 31-10 or something like that? What was do you remember the final score for that?
It was
27-10. Right?
No, yeah. they beat them like they stole something. I mean, that was never a game. I kept waiting. It was actually I'd gone out and I was watching on my phone a little bit, and I'm like, dang, Cincinnati just went right down the field. Then they made Buffalo go 3 and out.
Sure did.
Then they went right down the field again. Oh, Buffalo get it again. Buffalo went 3 and out. I'm like, what's going on?
14-0 for
it was a while before Buffalo.
It was almost 21-0.
Yeah.
I think they wound up getting a field goal. Did they not?
Yeah.
It was 17-7 at the half.
Yeah. It was almost 21-0.
It was 17-7, but it didn't feel that.
No,
close.
it felt like 40-0.
Right. I think did Cincinnati have a turnover? I'm thinking maybe they had a turnover in the first half. I can't remember, or it had been worse. Yeah, I think they were going down. I want to say there was a Cincinnati turnover somewhere, and that's why it wasn't as lopsided as it could have been. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember that first quarter, they just whipped them. I mean, they just beat them to death, and second half was just more of the same.
And
especially once your run game starts going downhill and you got the lead, it was over.
Then we had the NFC last week, and we all know The games in NFC, we had San Francisco and Philadelphia pulled out. San Francisco beats Dallas. I think, let's see, everybody here picked San Francisco against one, except one person. They picked Dallas last week.
His name is Terry.
It's Terry Reinhardt. Don't ever listen if he's picking a Dallas game because he's going to be wrong.
If you're a degenerate gambler, just pick the opposite of what Terry tells you. It's like we are the degenerate gambler hotline. Just call in, listen to what Terry says, bet the opposite, and then quit.
Yeah,
just stay. You'll stay ahead of the game that way.
And then the Philadelphia game. Philadelphia's offense was they got a prolific offense. I seen them. I was very impressed with their offense.
They can run the ball. I mean, and they can run it with Hurts. You know what I mean? It's very psychologically devastating when the other team could just line up. They're going to run. They're going to run, and they just run on you anyway. That game was over quick.
Yeah.
I thought the Giants would give them a little bit better.
I did too. Shame on me.
Yeah,
but,
I thought they would give them a little bit better. But Philadelphia,
and it's going to be hard for this week for Purdy to go into. Philly's a hostile place to play,
yeah.
And I'm not saying he's not used to it. I don't even know where he's from. To tell you the truth, where he grew up, where he played college ball. But if
he was a small
Iowa State,
small college.
I
don't think small.
No. He went to Iowa State.
Okay,
so he went to a Big 12 team.
So it's still one of those.
Not a real big.
It's just a.
Zach.
There you go.
He went to a little small school. Didn't he go to Lenore Ryan? No, he went to Iowa State.
That don't count.
Okay, but
they don't
count. Now you sound like somebody else I know. Yeah. No, he played he played big time college football.
That's fine. But I just don't think he's played. If you've never played in Philly, and I've never been up there to watch a game, but when you watch it on TV, the fans are just so ruthless. You hear players talking about what the fans do up there and how they just holler and can just get on. I mean, they even get on their own team like that. I think this is going to be, but I think San Francisco will keep it close. I think we got a great defense, and that's what's going to help them tremendously. But I think Philly's going to have too much. Philly's got too many horses in the tank.
Yeah, I've heard it said that Philly fans even hate themselves.
Yeah,
it's a rough town. It's one of my favorite towns. I've been there 6 or 7 times because it's such a history city. But they love their teams up there. Yep. I'm telling you, they love their team. I mean, they do have a jail inside the stadium, which tells you how.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they have to have a jail inside the stadium because they get to act in a fool inside the stadium, which is kind of funny.
But you got with this team, you got Philadelphia being the number 1 offense. You got San Francisco being the number 1 defense. So they say defense wins championships. So we'll see if that rings true. What do you guys think?
Philly at home was, the low hanging fruit is a rookie quarterback on the road in the NFC Championship. Okay, he can't get it done. That's what you want to say.
I can't say
but
that.
Purdy has.
Yeah. He's different.
Is not playing like a rookie. I don't know whether it's just that system just works or he's just confident or some quarterback whisperer is telling him exactly what he needs to know, but he has not played like a rookie. I mean, some of the throws he's made, and he can move a little bit too. Don't forget about that. He can extend the play a little bit too. So, I mean, he's not played like a rookie, but my instinct says,
will he?
Eventually, you're going to play like a rookie. So, I like Philly in this game. They're at home. Hurts, they were wondering about his health. Hurts is fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, I think Hurts is fine, and I think Philly, especially if they can run the ball. If they can run the ball and dominate time of possession, I think they're going to win. San Francisco really didn't run the ball that well against Dallas. I want to say, I was looking at McCaffrey's yards. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. He did have the touchdown run late, but he didn't have a ton of yards.
And Dallas has a good defense, too.
They do.
Yeah. Dallas has a good defense. But I think, Tom, you hit the nail on the head. If they can establish the run game, Philly's going to win this game.
Yeah, because that's what they like to do.
Yeah,
that's what they like to do.
I look at Purdy, and this comparison's been made a couple times. I think he looks like Romo back there. The way he shifts around, he's shifty.
He can extend the play.
He's not fast. Right. Romo wasn't fast,
but he can extend the play.
And then he'll fire a shot, and it's right on the money.
Right.
So I say he's Romo-like. I'm gonna stick with him. I got him going. I got him going to win the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback. I don't think it's ever happened. But I like that San Francisco team. Shannon, you mentioned they have it's their team, man. It's hard to stop Debo and it's hard to stop McCaffrey. And then you got that defense to back it up. If Purdy can just play not to lose the game for them, This is going to be.
I think you're wrong there. You can't play this game not to lose. You can't go in there and say, let's just not lose the championship game. No. You got to lay it all out there, Zach. I was like, no, you got to turn him loose. Because what are you going to do if you tell him not to lose? What are you going to do? Okay, nice safe pass, swing
check
pass,
down,
check down. Like, no, he's going to have to make a few plays. But I agree with you when you say this kid's played out of his mind. Yeah. I mean, really, he has. I mean, some of the throws he's made, you're right. I mean, he's played out of his mind. He deserves some credit. So I can't pick him. I can't pick a rookie quarterback on a road when he went. He's going to go 3,000 miles to play this game.
What scares me is that high prolific Philadelphia offense. If they put up 30, 35 points, that's gonna be tough.
I don't think they'll put up that much.
I don't think they will either. But they put up 40 in the playoffs. So far.
What'll be enough? 21.
No. I think it'll be
28, 24. Yeah. If Philadelphia wins 28-24, that's what I think.
Yeah, or 24-17 or 24-20 game.
I'm going 28-24 if Philly wins. I'm gonna say 27-21 if San Francisco wins.
Yeah, and I think if Mahomes can't play, the other one might be a 2-touchdown game. If Mahomes doesn't play and Burrow gets going, I think it's going to be downhill for the Bengals.
Who's Mahomes' backup? I don't even know.
Chad Henne.
Chad Henne, the old Dallas quarterback.
Yeah, Chad Henne played his
it's all about Dallas.
Played his college ball at Michigan. He's been around a long time, and I think he and Holmgren have a pretty good relationship. He trusts him. That playoff game against Cleveland a couple of years ago, he trusted him to make a third down pass. Or it might have been third or fourth down, and they threw it with Henne.
Yeah.
So I mean, but he's not Mahomes. Let's look at you're not Mahomes. I mean, he still got Kelsey out there, and he got some weapons, but he ain't Mahomes. So if it comes down to Chad Henne ain't beating Joe Burrow.
We've seen. It seems like something is with Mahomes. He's been injured in the playoffs multiple times. You've seen him limping around. It's bad luck, almost like the Chris Paul situation. Gets hurt all the time in playoffs. But we put these guys online. Tom, you said you think who you think's coming out in this game?
Which one?
The Kansas City Cincinnati game.
Well, I originally went with Kansas City, but if you ask me today, knowing the status, I'm going with Cincinnati. I just don't. Because of the way Mahomes plays. See what I mean? Because of the way he plays, high ankle sprain, not taking anything away from him. He's a great player. That's painful.
Yeah, it hurts.
I mean, that hurts. I mean, and you could tell some of the throws he's throwing in the dirt and how much adrenaline does he have going. He's arguing with the coach, don't take me out of the game. I mean, it's like, young man, no. It's like, we're not risking your career, even if it means this game. It's just like when he had the concussion a couple of years ago against Cleveland. It's like, we're not risking your health and your livelihood for this, even though he's still, a player going to play, right? I mean, he still wants to play, but, now that injury's had a week. I mean, maybe he's, like the State Farm commercial, maybe he's got his jazz band and his bath bongs and all that stuff going. Maybe he's ready to go, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'd have to see him play. I'm not convinced he's okay.
And one hit on that could,
That's
aggravate
what I'm saying.
anything. One bad, if he gets open, or excuse me, he gets chased and he gets out and he tries to run a little bit, tweaks it. Yep. It could be iffy. Who you thinking today, Shannon?
I think Cincinnati. I think
that scares me. We all got Cincinnati.
Yeah, it means Kansas City's going to win. Degenerate gamblers out there, put a Franklin on for Franklin on Kansas City because the experts at KTC have told you who to bet on.
Yeah, I even think with a healthy Mahomes, I think Cincinnati still wins because Burrow is the X factor. I think he is. Playoffs, he's proven he's
beaten Mahomes.
Yeah,
it's tough to go on the road and win a championship game. It's tough.
Are we looking at we're back in the 90s, but this is early 2000s. Are we looking at this thing starting to line up like Peyton Brady every year? Peyton Brady. We're looking at.
Well, instead of 2, now you got 3.
I was going to bring Josh Allen in that. So those 3 right there are going to be neck and neck. It's going to be every single year. They're 3 excellent quarterbacks.
Well, and just kind of like, I know we got to get out of here, but they're talking about Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Jets. You guys see that?
Oh wow!
So there could be another big quarterback in the AFC. So that'd be. I don't know if it's a
just
big
for just regular season though. He don't play well in the postseason.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's had his struggles, hasn't he? Yeah.
So, but I'm going to take Cincinnati myself. So let me write this down. we'll have it for next week. So I'll have, let's see, Shannon, you had Philadelphia, Cincinnati. Tom has Philadelphia, Cincinnati. I've got San Francisco and Cincinnati. We'll see how we fare next week when we get back. We're going to finish up this week. So you guys have a good week. It's good to have you in, Shannon. It's good to see you again, Tom. Hopefully we'll have Kevin and Terry back next week.
Yep. Thanks for listening to Saturday Morning Sports Talk, brought to you by Shelby Heating and Air.
Incredible man, I only do things incredible can, 'cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, 'cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, 'cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, 'cause that's who I am.